I start video transmission. I think we're live. Hello, people of Facebook. Welcome to episode 3 of our ACST from the Office of the Commissioner podcast.
See that,
I
Jeremy?
am.
He knows what episode we're on.
It's early. It's count
I
to low
know.
numbers still. We're still good. I don't see it as live still. I'm gonna refresh again just in case. There we go.
No,
Now it
it's
says
not
live on there. So you guys may have
good.
just caught me checking in on that, but it's just because I didn't see it live the first time. Welcome in.
The
I'm
share.
Cory Aleci from Candlepin Corner. With me is the
Hanson.
Commissioner, Danny Finn, as always, for our ACST weekly review. We got cut off last time. I apologize. Some technical difficulties on my end. My Streamlabs, for all you streamers that know what that is, just kind of fully froze up on me. So it disconnected everything. And
It was the internet telling me that we'd done enough.
yeah, and I think it was a good lengthy podcast, but it's Facebook also didn't really agree with us from what I understand of the face.
Yeah,
Of
I heard the replay was good, but which is good, which I think is more important.
Yeah,
As long as we have a copy of it for anybody who wants to go back and watch.
and it is on our YouTube. Thanks to Micah, he puts it right up shortly after we podcast. He'll download it. What's up, Lane? He'll download it, put it right up on YouTube. YouTube at Candlepin Corner. Subscribe. Subscribing is free. Help us get to 1,000, and we can keep this thing growing as best we can. So what do we have on tap for the ACST this past 7 days, plus a little that we didn't get to last time? Nick Blendo, how are you?
I think we just start doing scores, and we'll try to bang through them a little bit faster than we did last time. So if you feel like yours got bypass. We don't want to be here for 2 hours. Cory thinks we have roughly 40 to 50 matches to get through. We got through about 60 last time.
Yeah.
So we're going to bang through them a little bit faster, and then maybe we can take a quick look at the standings. And if there's some time, maybe we'll show you how it all flows in for anybody that kind of wants to see the back end of it. And because that's kind of what I want to do with this, not just a play-by-play, but what we see behind the scenes. It's not always just about all the scores. And I think as we get closer to the playoffs, we might not go over every match. We might highlight a few going in and see which ones are kind of more priority as far as who's in the hunt, who's not in the hunt, things like that.
And while we go through as Danny talks to them, I'm going to pull up what the upcoming schedule is and kind of see what we got for matches. I mean, there's not really any close races yet. We're still super early, but there's some bowlers that are bowling well. That there might be a match of the week candidate out there to kind of see what's going on early on. Bowlers that are going. Yeah, you faced Ray at Wakefield. We haven't. Did you submit your scores yet? Actually, Ray's the home bowler. Did Ray submit the scores yet? So we'd like to highlight all that. But yeah, no. It's going to be fun. Obviously, as the races get tighter, we'll be able to have more hand-picked matches of the week that are going to be important matches. Not that any match isn't important, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, just the crunch time of playoff pushes, and the thing is, like, this is a league where everybody does cash. So even if you're like in that 14th spot and you have a shot to move up to 11th or whatever, like, you still want to earn every point you can get because you make more money based on where you finish. So for those who don't know, the seeding 1 through 16 is your payout, and then the playoffs are all bonus cash. Every round you win after the playoffs is all bonus cash. The playoffs also are free to the bowlers. The only thing is, so the away bowler pays nothing. The home bowler pays the alley. Usually it's 45, but if you have an agreement where it's more or less, that's what the home bowler is responsible for. And we reimburse you the $45 when you get your payout. So, or what? Yeah, 45. Regardless of what you paid, we budget 45 per
Yep.
playoff match. So that's what you're going to get back. 14-0. That's a big 14. Ray did pretty well last year. So taking 14 off him, I know he was in the South last year, but that's 14 is 14.
And Lane, you were the away, right? You were at Wakefield, so that's even more impressive.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm
a tough
looking
house.
at it now. That's a division match. Ray right now going into that match was leading the division at 17-11. So obviously he's going to be 17-25. Lane will be 14-0. That's going to swing Lane from third to first in his division. Again, super early. I'm tied for second in the A South. I'm tied for the 2 seed. So we know it's early. I don't see that lasting. But
I'm still convinced you and Glenn just reposted the scores. You're like, yeah, let's just copy
mix
my
it up a
homework,
little
but
bit.
change it up a little.
Yeah, we didn't want it to look like we copied too much.
Yeah.
So. And I gave him an extra point, too. I was 10-4 last year. We did 9-5 this year just because I didn't want to make it seem too...
just a little tweak here and there.
I blew that tie. I had that in my hands. And I know Glenn has plenty that he can look back. Just real quick, I needed 30 in 3 boxes. Told myself I just need one. I just need one mark. and life will be real easy. I throw a spare in the 8th right there. And I'm like, golden. 4 fill, $6.
Oh,
So bailed out with the 10 on the end to tie it, but the game was right there. I had it. It was in my hand, and
I remember a playoff match you were a part of that was comparable. Somebody needed like a 36 half to beat you and move on to the finals, and
whatever he needed, he got one less than
one less to force overtime.
Yeah, that was well. You know what the thing was? We said we were both going to throw 600, and we did.
Yeah, you didn't specify it was 6. Yeah, that's
exactly.
All. Yeah, Faye, how are you? Good to see you.
People
all right,
let's
pull a match up. I'm gonna wait till you get a match on the screen before I switch, so people don't see a bunch of NAs.
Sure, I keep that up there because that way we don't have like one match sitting there for a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Cory had the idea we're going to start with the A because we did get cut off a little bit earlier, so last week. So we're going to give the A their plug, and we're going to just rocket fuel through all these matches. There might be a few we hang on to a little bit longer, but for the most part, we're going to try to bang these out. Would you say Chris Berman style?
Yeah, Chris Berman style, the fastest minute in football. Is that what it is? Yeah, it's good. And Steve Kelly confirmed on our YouTube post that this is the same one he got from the same website. It's just a good website for streamers to use to get some transitions like that. So I may appeal, so I may look through. So I don't want to steal his transitions, but for now it's a good placeholder.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's plenty of cool ones out there.
So it looks like you guys can all see this. Actually, It
looks good on my phone. I have it up on the phone, so.
Okay, perfect. The only thing that gets cut off is the house and the class, but we're going to tell you the class anyway. So.
And I can say the house real quick. So first matchup we have Cody 50 at Josh Daly at Academy. Obviously very early in the season. Looks like both of them have the one match. I know Josh did bowl a second match, but I did not see it get reported yet. But we'll get to that when we get to it probably next week. Josh with a big 12 over Cody 50, 607 to 521. I've seen Cody bowl. I don't think he's going to throw a lot of 520s at people, but I think Josh is going to throw a lot of 600s at people. So,
and Academy is one of those weird houses that it's been really hot early on in the season, but it's similar to Millis. Millis is, if you don't know this, a fast house. However, it can be very splitty the same way. You're getting that splash. If the pins just miss, you're getting a split instead of that backdoor strike or 8-drop. So Academy's kind of at that situation right now.
I think Millis is where, and you could probably say this about any house, but like I know the big joke about Millis is like you can hit the 2-4 and get the Millis 8. If you can split any 2 pins, you're usually doing okay. If your ball has any type of action on it, if you hit anything full, you're going right through. So if you throw one of those like dead down the middle balls, you're looking at a lot of 3 and 2s all day long. You got to figure out how to cut that ball over.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, that's what it is. You get a good mixing ball no matter where you are, but when things are moving a little bit better, it feels nice.
Yeah, it does. Once it's going, it's going. So Josh with a 12-2 victory over Cody 50. Returning ACST A champion Mike McIntosh comes right back with a 595 to go 10-4 over newcomer Sean Shattuck. Great match. You got 595 to 592. You shouldn't lose by 3 pins and lose 10-4. Like that is wild.
But if you look at it, it was 469 all going into that last game. So the last game was a 6-point match. It was all down to that match. It was great bowling to watch. They kind of went back and forth all the way through. I'm sure Mac would love to have the 108 and 102 back, just knowing the competitor he is. But still, you start your season with 10 after winning it all last year. I'm sure he's happy with that.
I'm sure if Sean throws, I know it's the A, but if he throws some more 592s, I think he's going to be in pretty good shape, winning some matches there. It looks like that's all we have for the A North, those 2 matches. So
yeah, like you said, I know Josh bowled last night. He faced JT.
You don't report, you don't get talked about.
Oh, sorry. I do want to mention that he fell short of a 700 by 3 pins. So.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, 697.
Do better, Josh.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't want to give it too much time, only because I know we're going to talk about it next week. So.
Yeah, I just got to give him a little dig when I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll spend a lot of time on where he could have found those 3 pins.
Yeah.
Timber Lanes, we have Zach Corbett against Mark Gallagher, 2 class. Actually, Mark was a B bowler. Zach, I believe, was C. 564 to 524. I believe Mark is now on a Worlds team. I'm actually super pumped for him. I've never beat him. I bowled him 3 times, twice regular season, 1 playoffs. Never beat him. All of them have been at Timber, though. And I think it's good that he's starting to get the push that he deserves. As far as I've ever seen, very quiet guy.
Very quiet guy.
Once he starts, I've said he's got the second best beard in the game. Until Phil Clough retires, I'm not giving that trophy to anybody else.
My one thing on watching Mark bowl, because I've seen him bowl a few times now, he has one of the most interesting stances. He almost starts like a baseball pitcher and then goes straight through. It's similar. I think Will Damon, I think, is a main bowler that starts that similar fashion, but like the feet fully angled a different direction. It's interesting, but it works for me. 564 is
so explosive.
Explosive.
And this is one thing I'll say, because you can see the 89 that he threw in the second game. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on each match, but the thing about just want to double check something real quick. When he can get a little wayward with his ball, but once he's on, like he's on and he's going to go on a run. If he can clean some of those wayward streaks he goes on, he's going to really hold his own in the A. You'll see him on a lot more high tension matches, I think. I think this is going to be really good for him.
Yeah, before we jump to the next one, Craig just had a question in the comments. Match formality. Read that bowling side by side of your opponent is discouraged. Saw a match the other day. So the format of the league is 5 up, 5 down. That is the exact format. If both bowlers agree, or in a doubles match, all 4 bowlers agree, you can bowl side by side with your opponent, but it has to be unanimous.
Yep, it's not home bowler or majority rules. If not everybody agrees, it's, as Cory said, 5 up, 5 down.
Yeah, and realistically, curious thoughts of preference of which lane you starting on the same lane every string. I am an Academy bowler, and Ted DeBarro, proprietor of Academy, is firm on you do not bowl 10 boxes in a row on the same lane in competitive play. So I personally like to throw the last ball, so I'll figure that out. Okay, which lane do I want to be on to throw the last ball, and I will start wherever I need to finish on that lane.
Yep, I know bogey. You start on the lane you finish on. It's basically, sometimes it's up to the house. The house might just have a default. And I know this is going to sound bad, but sometimes there's a default setting on an automatic scoring system. Keep in mind, even if you went to that house before and somebody knew how to fix that, the person that's working that particular shift may not know that there's a way to override that. So unfortunately, sometimes we just have to go to what the house allows us to do. I agree with what you were saying about you don't bowl 10 in a row. If I start on lane, say I'm bowling on 19 and 20, if I start on lane 20, I'm starting on lane 20 all 5 strings. That's how I've always bowled. I know my league is that same way, but when I bowled the summer league at Harvard, we started on the lane that we finished on, which would be the 10 boxes in a row. The only reason I like that at a house like Harvard or Riverwalk, I don't know if CPL's like this.
The ball switching
on the outside. Yeah, so it does limit that. But if you're bowling at a house like Millist, where the ball rack is in between the 2 lanes that you're bowling on, I think the best is to keep starting on the same lane over and over again. But again, if the house tells you that they can't do it that way, just go with what the house says. Where they're guests, sometimes they may not know how to do that. I know how to do it for our house. I'm assuming it's the same for any Cubica system. But again, I don't tell people how to run their bowling alley. That's not my job, nor do I want that to be my job.
Yep. Like even when Academy was getting their Cubica stuff, I reached out to Danny, who then reached out to Brian Fournier for a lot of tips about setting up ACST matches inside Academy, because Cubica was so new to them. And generally, their system's a little newer at Academy, but same ideas within the program.
And I've been fortunate enough to have conversations with Andrew Medeiros, who now works for Cubica. And he's given us a few tips on how to do things. Like that's how we were able to shut off the automatic the reset.
Perfect.
How to do that. And then it's called Disable Ball Cycle, which blew my mind because I would have thought anything but that button, I think.
And what also is cool, what we figured out, so we do our 9-pin tournament Christmas time at Academy. Josh DeBarro figured out a way that the first ball has 9-pin rules. Second and third, you still have to manually update. But first ball, if 9 pins are dropped, it counts it as a strike.
Yeah, so it was explained to me that's because it's a variation of a 10-pin game.
Okay.
And if I'm speaking out of turn, I apologize to all the 10-pin bowlers. I am not a 10-pin bowler. This is what I was told. If you are doing I think they call it no-tap 9-pin, if you throw 9 on your first ball, it's a strike. But say you drop 8 on your first ball and then you pick 1, it's not a spare. It's a 9.
Okay, that makes sense.
9-pin rule for 10-pin bowling only impacts your first ball. And since Cubic is more of a 10-pin system anyways, that's
why. That makes sense.
That's why, because we have that setting too, and we couldn't use it because we felt it was going to be more confusing than not.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, just my thought is less buttons to push, the better.
Yeah,
but yeah, with your system,
I just know people get confused very easily, and I try to limit the confusion. But if you're better at explaining things than I am, I'm never going to judge somebody else for how they run something.
No, absolutely. Phil asks us to do different things each match. It seems that the away bowler never seems to have a problem. That's really what it's all about. Phil's asking you to do stuff that's different. If the away bowler doesn't have a different, doesn't have a issue with it, Phil keeps rolling with it. As long as he's throwing the opponent off, that's what it's all about. At that point, is just keep you on your toes.
So Aaron, I don't know what happened, but when I was bowling Phil last year, something kept happening where, like, at one point I looked up and I was bowling on Phil's name. Like, the whole thing got confusing. I thought I was up. It turned out I was down. And that's on me for not paying better attention. Like, I'm not blaming anything. Like, I should know better. But I know I got confused on it, but I think I had something else going on in my head. And then halfway through, I realized I was bowling on Phil's name. So maybe that was a me error. I have no idea. But either way, I just know. Or Phil knew I was getting confused and took full advantage of that, because Phil's a competitor, and I think he knows how to beat people.
Competition above all.
Exactly. I love Phil. Match number 3, we have myself against Pete Riccitelli. I joked that this was definitely a match of, no, you can win. No, you can win. No, you can win. Like, who wanted it less? But, I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't want to make this the me show, but Pete threw a hell of a great first ball. Unfortunately, couldn't get some of the second balls to convert the way he wanted to, and I just hung around long enough that I feel like it finally clicked when it needed to. But the Class A South is very interesting because you have about 5 or 6 bowlers that are really, like, should be in the playoffs if nobody drops out and no injuries. Then there's 10 to 11 bowlers really fighting for the last 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah,
and you can figure out the 5 or 6. And I felt like this was a match where we're fighting for those last 2 spots. So these are really like do or die matches for us. So I don't know if there was nerves. I know I was nervous, but
I want to give you that.
Match.
You don't want to give yourself a lot of kudos, but I'll give you kudos. You were down 23 going into that final string, and you like you said, put it all together at the right time to have a 31-pin victory in the final string to take that game and total. So that's a kudos to you for just kind of sticking with it. You won't give yourself enough credit. You never do. So just wanted to throw that out there before I see you highlighting the cell to move on to the next one. So I wanted to make sure you did that before you hit enter.
I appreciate you. I have 2 matches in here, so I didn't want to spend too much time. This one I think needs a little bit of time too. We were talking about Sean Shattuck taking 4 with a 592. Harvard is no joke of a house, and Charlie Collins goes 655 against James Hume's 595. Welcome to the A, James Humes.
Right. Yeah. Really, what it is, it's a. Charlie said, "This is my house. I'm in this for the long haul," and showed James what's up. But James, another bowler that's getting some notoriety. He bowled a couple Pro Series event. I believe he's on a World's team. You'll know better than
Harry's All Stars.
Yeah. So I thought he said he got on there, but I didn't want to 100% say that out loud without being.
I lobbied for him. I bowled James, and I went over to Brian. I said, if you have an opening, I said he's itching to get on a team. And I think sometimes guys like that can be real explosive because they have something to prove. And I think James, 1, great team guy, and 2, he's got something to prove.
Yeah, chip on his shoulder.
Absolutely. So I'm super pumped for him. I think he's going to do good things up there. I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get to bowl, but the ones he gets, I think he's really going to. I hope he can bowl the way he does and doesn't let nerves get the better of him. And I don't think he will. Obviously, first Class A match, I think he did great.
At a house that was notoriously tough all summer. Yes. So I don't know if I can't speak to how they treated the lanes, anything like that before fall started, but I know that was notoriously tough watching those scores all summer at that
I bowled in that summer league, and I'm going to tell you, Charlie was on my team, and where the hell was this all summer, Charles? This hurt my feelings when I watched it. So, but great job. He threw the high. That house doesn't do 3 of 5. They just do your first 3 is the high triple. So Charlie Collins got the high triple and the high 5 in that ACST match.
Kudos to Charlie there.
Josh has the high single, which was also thrown in an ACST match. So all 3 of the male records.
Not only was it thrown in an ACST match, it was thrown in the ACST finals the year he won it at Joey Lister.
Speaking of Charlie Collins, he comes back with a 602 against Justin Waters, 521. That's kind of what. Now, I never expect to see Justin throw a 521.
If you said to me Justin Waters 521 without me looking at the screen, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to assume, wow, he had a hell of a 3. Like he was just on for 3, not 521 for 5. But again, that gives more kudos to what we just saw from James Humes the game before going 595 there, because it is a tough house. Justin Waters is easily top 5 bowler in the game right now, somewhere in that range. 10 at least. I would
Yeah.
say top 5. But it's like it's a good conversation to have. And he was 80 pins under his average at least. He was a 130 in the
No,
ACST
he's more
last
like
year.
he's usually about 128 to 130. So this was a tough match. Harvard will eat you up. Like I know, um, I know it doesn't look that way when you see the first match out of there between Charlie and James Humes, but that's a house that can get. It's just weird things happen in that house, and I'm not knocking the house. Like every house has its own thing, and you got to learn how to play the house. And I'm sure I don't think he has to go there again unless he has a playoff match there. But he had a house record there before I think Dean broke it. Justin did. So I know he can play well there. It's I
think he subbed in that Harvard Summer League.
He did.
Got the record, and then it was like 2 weeks later. Dean said, "Okay, my turn."
I'll sub in that league too, and I'll break it. Yeah. So all the records were always by subs. So it's good to see that they're moving along there. Next match in the A, a lot of repeats here. Myself versus Glenn Gill. This was actually a very late impromptu match. Glenn had another match scheduled that fell through. He was looking to bowl anybody at that point because he had it ready to go. And I said, if you can't find somebody, I'll bowl. So was it 2-3 hours? I think Glenn's in the chat right now. 2-3 hours before the match, I ended up deciding I was going to bowl. This was funny because I don't know if you guys saw the post on Candlepin chat, but Glenn and I bowled almost. Glenn found it. I didn't even know. Almost a year to the date. I think he said it was 363 days, and it was 10-4 on my end. The exact same score, 578 to 566, and I opened with a 108 both times. So there's that. That was a crazy back and forth match. I know Glenn averaged 116 in the summer league this year, so I really knew like if I didn't put something together, it was going to be a long day. I'll be honest, and I know I'm going to get crap from you for this. I tied the first string, and I said, well, at least it'll be 1-13. So
yeah, you and your negativity always pin up, but this is a good like you said, huge back and forth match. Like if we saw the score sheets that Micah does for his own thing, that match trend is literally up down all the way through because Glenn had it, so tie, then Glenn had it, you had it, then Glenn had it again, then you took it in the last game, like back and forth each game.
The last 3 strings, 10, 10, 10, they were all 10-point matches. I mean, that was the widest gap was 10. It's 10, 10, 10, 6, and 0.
Crazy.
So I bowl well when I bowl Glenn. Glenn's just I enjoy bowling him, and I don't mean that because I win. Like I bowled him in the summer, and he's kicked my rear end plenty of times.
Yeah, it's a level of comfortability with a friend.
Absolutely. He came in and subbed on the fall league one year. I want to say this year. I shouldn't say 1 year. And I'm trying to leave certain details out, but basically he ended up coming in the second string for somebody. So he bowled strings 2 through 5. And he might have thrown a 500 in those 4 strings, like over 500. So I was joking that we should call the other guy back and not allow Glenn to bowl anymore because he was bowling on. That's when he threw I think that's when he threw the 170 at me.
Right in your face.
Yeah. So, but great match with Glenn. I enjoyed that a lot, and I would say that if it went the other way too. I'm not just saying that because I came out on top. I always loved bowling Glenn. All right, now we move to the West. A West has got no love yet. Cameron Green versus Tim Soucy. Huge win by Cam Green. I think that's a name we haven't really seen enough of, and unless I've been living under a rock. But Cam with an early 598 over Tim Soucy, who I think a lot of people see him as a top 2, top 3 bowler in that group. And I mean, you can see it by the record. He's already got 3 games bowled. He's 30-12. So my math tells me he's 26-2. After he bowled Cam?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so Cam is somebody who's kind of, from my understanding, was a youth bowler, took some time off, coming back to the game now. And my first exposure with him was last year. He bowled the doubles event at Lita for the Pro Series and threw a 600, 620 or something like that in his first time at Lita, notoriously tough house when it was open. Yeah. First Pro Series event. And he's kind of run with it since. He was at a couple ACBT events this year, so he's kind of continuing to grow in the game. And I would say knocked the rust out, or the nerves out after the first 3. He went 300 on the dot for his first 3 and 298 in the last 2. So he almost matched his first 3 games in his last 2.
Unfortunately, I'm looking at his record, and so I'm guessing the next one wasn't so hot.
Yeah.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yep.
But it's either way, great job by both those bowlers. Tight match. Sean Sears against Michael Herring. Sean came out, again, one of the favorites in the West, I would think. 12-2 with a 649 versus a 572. I did hear Canals moving. Again, that's not to take away the 649. I think it's more important that you take the 12, regardless of what your score is.
Yes.
I remember telling Eddie Woodside this at Millis, where when Millis is still, it leans on the faster side, but there was a period where it was moving. It was up there. And when that happened, the thing is, you have to remember, especially going first, no lead is safe.
Yep.
Because you never know, like, guy gets a couple backdoors, something or other, and then, your 60-point lead got evaporated real quick. So I think that's something to know when you're bowling like at a canal, if that is faster. I haven't bowled there, but that's one of the things I heard. You got to know if you're going first, no lead is safe.
Yeah, I haven't been there since the Richie Mayer tournament last December, but Sean and I were talking off of this. We were talking after the podcast last. He goes, people are going to see some of the scores that are coming out there, and it's going to become known as Millis West. So yeah, it's moving for sure.
And the thing that sucks too is it's hard to get out from under a reputation, especially the way social media is going right now. You just got to own it. And again, whether it was 649 to 572 or 549 to 472, you still got to take the 12.
Absolutely.
You're both bowling on the same lane. So, Justin, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Gilmet.
Assuming Gilmet is what I would assume.
Gilmet against Cameron Green, 636 to 575. Cam unfortunately did not have the same type of luck he had in his first match. Justin with an early 14-0 victory with a 127 average. So again, a name that I don't see very often. If this is something that we can see consistently, I bet you we see a lot more of Justin in the near future. I think this is going to be really cool to get some Western Mass bowlers involved in more like the Pro Series doubles, worlds, mixed worlds. I think you're going to start seeing some guys get nabbed that maybe don't get looks.
Absolutely. ACST is, regardless of if it's your long-term plan or what your goal is here, it's an amazing stepping stone for all these bowlers to get exposure, to get better at the competitive aspect of Candlepin, and get their names out there for different events.
I think between this, and I'm not just saying it because, and I know you're on both committees, and I'm not just saying it because Kate is a president of the amateur tour, but I think between this and the amateur tour, those are the two things you really need to do to launch yourself. I know there's Pro Series, but I'm talking about that tier just below it that you're looking to get into that competitive level. You're never going to get asked to do anything being a house bowler. You have to.
Yep, without a doubt. You gotta get your name out there, and you gotta get experience bowling competitively. And handicap tournaments are great. 100% handicap tournaments are great. Great for the house, is great for the game. But just that, even ACBT, just the fact that it's not 100% handicap, you do have to hit or be above your average to really have success there.
Yep.
It adds that extra level, and then you get into the tournament play where you're head to head with somebody. It's big. It's big stepping stone. So next summer, look for the dates. Sign up.
Aaron Halbert just said Justin is a canal house bowler that does have an interest in reaching out more. Well, if he keeps putting numbers up like this, he's going to be doing a lot more if he wants to. Let's put it that way.
For sure.
Moving on, another canal. I think canal, and I don't mean this because of the speed, I think canal is going to be the Millis of the West, being that everybody bowls out of there.
Well, it helps when, I know Sears is a canal guy. I think, I think the three guys that are on the committee for ACST West are all canal bowlers. So that's kind of how it works out. Like you're the commissioner. You are working at or very involved with Millis. You're gonna talk people's ear off. There's a lot of academy bowlers because I'm the same way. Anybody that's in my house league, I'm like, yeah, you should do this. You should do that. You should do this. Like that's
the thing. People are like, well, you got to recruit people. So I'm recruiting. Like somebody told me I don't bowl in this because they were a CPL bowler, and they said you don't have enough CPL bowlers. And I said, then go get some. Like I don't turn them away.
Right. We're not saying like the house may turn you away. Like we can't guarantee CPL will let everybody bowl out of there, but like you have to get these bowlers to at least attempt to join. And if CPL says we can take 5, then okay,
as far as I know,
take 5.
That has not been an issue with CPL. Like I haven't heard anything about CPL turning people away. This was more so just like CPL used to have a lot of when I first got into it. So maybe it's a me problem, but I know like Body, Corrado, Peter Penny. Eddie Woodside, I think Reno Jr. was out of CPL. I swear they were just as big, if not bigger, than Millis when I first got involved. Or maybe Steve Walsh was CPL.
I think Daly was CPL.
Was he CPL? He might have been Sunnyside the first year.
I
First,
feel
I
like
know he took over for Brian one year when Brian went down.
the year that Susie was in the final, Susie won. So
Hmm.
I believe Daly was a Central bowler that year because I believe Susie beat him at Central in the playoffs.
Okay, because I know, yeah, because that was the year he was north. Then he moved south, and then he went back north.
Yep.
Um, but anyways, west. Let's keep going with Canal.
Yep.
Jeff Burns versus Craig Boudry, a great match. I love these close matches. I know, like they're so tough in the moment, but like once you can take a step back and relax, 558 to 555. Those are so good. And you brought it up before. Jeff was down 4 going into the string, wins the string by 7. Like those can go. Like you said, 6-point matches.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. Is one of the best things. Like even competitive bowling like Fridays. When we bowl Fridays, if it's close going into the final string, like hey, this is a 4-point game, like because you take 8 points. I love that atmosphere because you know how much more valuable that one game is.
Yep, they're very important to win those last ones. Match number 5, we have Michael Herring versus Tim Soucy. 642 to 520. I think Tim Soucy decided he's not losing twice in a row. It just went gangbusters at French King. I've never bowled French King, so I can't speak to the speed of the house. But that is Tim's home house, and obviously he knows how to throw big scores there. So big 14 for Tim Soucy out of French King. Tim Soucy against Jeff Burns again, 677. Off the top of my head, that might be the high. We can actually look at the highs after this if we have a little bit of time. I do have a sheet that you guys can see on the spreadsheet if you ever go in there. There's a lot of cool tables in here that you guys can check out if you're interested. But Tim with a big 12-2 victory over Jeff Burns, and that is all we have for. I think that wraps up all the A, right?
That's all of the A. Look at that.
All right. So let's see, B, N, 8. Right? Because we left off at 7, so we were on 8.
Yep.
I
I believe so. Yeah.
Alex Dellis versus Caitlin Zolko. I watched some of this match actually, and again, Caitlin was the number 1 seed in the D, moved up to B. Knew she was going to have to bowl better, and I would say 544 is nothing to sneeze at. That's definitely not a D level. I would say that's a comfortable B, but the Dellis brothers are on fire right now.
Oh yeah.
Alex is not going to be in the B next year if he continues this path. He's averaging 121 through 2 matches. He is 24-4. Caitlin, unfortunately, 2-26 with a 103 average, but I think she's got plenty of time to turn it around.
Without a doubt.
John Lascarbau versus Jeff Little, another match I got an opportunity to see some of. Tight match. Jeff made it a lot closer than it needed to be.
41 pin victory in that last game.
You're so fast with numbers. 427 to 384. Just so close to taking total. And that's such a mental thing too. Now I know it's at Harvard where you don't know necessarily the score unless you kept looking back at the sheet. You're just kind of bowling versus somewhere at Academy or Millis where you can keep looking up and seeing what you need. But on the one hand, he's got to be thinking, all right, I just want to win the string. I got to get at least I can't go 12-2. I got to get over 98. I can't blow, John gave me a match. I got to win it. But then to have the wherewithal to go, maybe I got a shot at total and to go on that type of run. I know he fell a little bit short, but boy, did he make a run at it.
And as a bowler, you're sitting up there and your bowler bowls at their first half and say John bowls a 49 first half. I'm going to just split his right down the middle.
Yeah.
And Jeff goes up there and bowls a 70 front. And then he's like, wait, well, I just got 21 pins into a 43 pin lead, so I just got half. So and then John goes and does the same thing. You're like, I could throw a 40 half, another 70 half, and go win this thing.
That was my match against Pete. He struggled in the first half, and I started thinking. I did it, and I don't want to say this because I don't want to bag on anybody, but I had a playoff match with Kyle Hetty. Same thing. I think I was down 46, either through 2 or 3, and I thought it was over. And I'll give Shu a lot of credit. Dan Gauthier actually said, "Here's the thing: you're probably not going to win. But go up there and do it for you." And then Kyle had a rough half, and he said to me, "There's your opening, go get it." Kyle said it to me, and I threw a double strike at him at that point, and then things just started clicking. And I've said it before, this game is such a momentum game. Once the momentum shifts, it's hard to get it back, and I've been on both ends of that.
Yeah, and that happened to me my first year in the ACST. I was bowling Logan as the higher seed in the playoffs, and came down to the last game. I was chasing pins. I had a 36 front half. And then I'm like, shoot, I blew it, blah, blah, blah. And then I go out there and I'm watching the pins. I had a 68 back half. Unfortunately, still lost by 10. But like you said,
At
you
least you
get in
made it
that
competitive.
exactly. You get in that zone. You're like, all right, I'm chipping away. Like there's a shot here, and then you fall short. Time it's bowling. You're gonna fall short. But the fact that you can have that mental wherewithal to continue to chip away even when you're down big speaks volumes.
Yeah, I've joked with people too, where, and I know I did it against Legender, where he was way ahead of me after I think 3 or 4. He croaked me. I didn't have it. I was awful that day, and then he started to have a couple bad boxes, and I remember telling him, "Don't tease me. Just can you do me a favor and not make it like, don't make it close enough that I got to do something. Like I don't have it today." Then I think he went off, but like. It's sometimes where you're like, you almost want them to just go off on you because you're like,
yeah, beat me by 100 at this point. Yeah, just go for it.
I can't. You can't let it be close and then have me blow it because you know how it is. Sometimes you're locked in. You feel like you can make anything, and then other days you're like, you could put the pin in front of me and I could kick it and miss it. Like
mixed worlds on Sunday for me, buddy. The same thing. I couldn't hit a corner pin to save my life.
It happens to everybody, and it always sucks when it's in the big moments. So, actually, a quick funny story was I just bowled Glenn on Sunday. I went 570, and then I bowled League. I went 303, and I know what happened. I was throwing a left to right ball, something I haven't done in a long time, but it was working against Glenn, so I was doing it the whole day. And a couple people yelled at me for switching things up, but it is what it is. But anyways, it worked for me. Well, I think because of the break in between when I tried to bowl my League, I didn't have that same speed on the ball, and it kept going to the 3-pin no matter what I did. I couldn't get off the 3-pin. And we're bowling two gentlemen that are probably in the mid to high 80s, low 90s range. So I shook hands at the end. I said, "Hey, great bowling." I said, "It stinks. I just bowled great over there, and I can't do nothing over here." And the guy says, "Well, that's what happens when you bowl League. Nerves get the better of you." And I just said, "Yeah, I don't think it was nerves." It's like you can't explain it without sounding like a jerk and being
right.
Like,
yeah, you can't. Yep, you just gotta say, "Yeah, it wasn't my night." That's odd.
This is the league that gets me nervous.
Yeah.
So, sticking with Class B, we have Dave Hodge-Mallahan versus Stephen Post. 567 to 495. Hodgie has been in the A in the past. He had a little bit of a rough go last year. He's back this year, and I think he's really looking for a rebuild year. And I'm going to tell you, 567 is a great way to start your rebuild.
It sure is.
So, big
Steve,
call by him.
Steve throwing 495, I think that's going to be an anomaly because we watched how explosive he can be a few times. So I think it's kind of ramping up for the season, and I still think he's going to be dangerous.
And you can even see it in his scores, right? 79 to open, and then 96, 90, 112, 118. Just look at the back three versus his front two. Like
without a doubt.
Obviously, the 79 was kind of maybe knocking off some of that rust. And he was down by a lot from the jump. It's really easy to just mail it in and call it a day. But you know what? He got out of there with 2 points. And through the front four, it didn't look like he was going to get it. So kudos to him because every point matters. Trust me. They come back to bite you later.
Without a doubt.
All right. So that wraps up the B North. So I feel like we're cruising through these a little bit faster.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a much quicker than last week.
South, we have match number 7, Dan Gothier, who I thought was going to be chasing for who can finish the season fast, but I think Lori Canny is going to own that one because she's already up to 4 or 5 matches.
Ooh.
Dan Gothier with a 12-2 victory over Will Casilny. That's old school. Well, I don't want to say old school because Dan was a 120 guy, but I think Dan's in the B. He joked that maybe he doesn't even belong that high, but I even told him, I said, "You can have my A spot if you want." He's like, "No, I really need to figure this out," and he's figuring it out already.
That's a good way to start figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and Will's coming back off an injury. He had to leave due to an injury, so I don't know how much bowling he got to do before then, but still jumping from D to B with an injury.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's a lot of that. He had a rough finish there, but again, if he didn't get to bowl a lot, that's going to be some endurance that you get to build up in your shoulder as you start getting more and more into it.
All about that.
Yep.
So, but we can see flashes with the 121. He can put up some big numbers. Dave Edison versus Mike Capone. I know Mike Capone said, "Trust me, take my word for it. We both bowled better than our scores." And I wrote back, "I don't believe you." I used to bowl on a team with Mike, so I love giving him crap. 10-4. Sawyer's is no joke. I've never bowled there, but I heard it's got to be up there with one of the harder houses. Duncan and I had a conversation about it. I had my opinions, but I'll leave that between me and Duncan right now on how lanes should be treated. And I'm not saying Millis is necessarily the right way, but I think there's a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think it also helps the longevity of the decks to make sure that there's some type of attention paid to them. Was that the nicest
Without,
way I could?
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
And I'm
1000%
not knocking
political way
any
to
house.
put it.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking anything, but I think there is it's not just about making the houses fast. It's about keeping everything clean and keeping the decks from rusting out, so to speak. So, but again, Mike Capone versus Dave Edison, 509. If you can get 509 and walk out of there with 10 points in the B, it's a good day. Um, I know I brought his name up a lot, but I know I bowled a bad match against Kevin Dietrich at Wakefield where I took 6 and I went 480 something. And Glenn said, take your 6 and be happy.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
So I think in this situation, both bowlers know they probably need to put up higher scores, but if that's the best that Sawyers would give them, and they were nailing everything, unfortunately, I don't believe it was streamed. We're gonna see numbers like that from Sawyers all year long. So, but great battle either way. I've said it before. The close matches are more important to me than just the big numbers. Speaking of big numbers, Donald Devish versus James O'Brien. James O'Brien was running away with the D all of last year until James Corbett caught him. JOB, a lot of people have seen he can show flashes of being a scary good bowler, even to the point where he was bowling. How many lanes was he? I think it was my team was bowling, Waters' team was bowling next to us, and then James was bowling next to them. And Justin couldn't believe that James wasn't going to go to the A next year. That's how good he can bowl. And I think if he can just put it all together, get those 80s out of the way, he's going to be an A bowler. I'm hoping sooner rather than later. But DJ's been on fire. He carried us in our summer league. It's me, Nardone, and DJ on Tuesdays at Middle Summer. He carried us down the stretch. DJ I've always seen as kind of a all or nothing bowler for the 2 years prior that I bowled with him, I believe it was, where he'll throw that 140 and then follow it up with an 80. And I know we see that here, but it's happening less frequently. And I think if he can really wipe out those lower scores, he's going to be a very good bowler. It's
Just
really,
minimize damage. Those 86s become 100s, and you're a totally different ball game.
absolutely. And I think he's on his way to that for sure. So I'm happy to see that. Look at that, jeez, you're running. I'm like, did I not put all the scores in? BW5. Wait, hold on. Jeff Little, I made a spare in the 10th box, going for the fill, needed 6, got a 3. All right, well, I do have to ask, did you hit what you wanted to hit, or did you throw it?
If you look at the comment above, it says had a spare made it and overthrew the ball in the 10th box.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
so I'm assuming he was on two pin or 4 pin and didn't get what he wanted.
It's hard, and it's if you watch my match against Glenn, like I took that extra second, and I did something I was actually very proud of, where I started doing the math, and then I said, stop doing the math, touch the head pin, just touch the head pin, and good things will happen. Because I'm constantly trying to do math in my head, and I'm trying to get better. Because I truly think that I bowled decent at Harvard because I never knew what I needed because it's paper and pencil. And Charlie keeps score, not even he doesn't keep score at the scores table. He keeps it kind of further back because he does the stream, so he tries to multitask.
Yep.
So I don't know what I need or where I'm at. I know like a big thing on our team, we kept yelling Mark for 100, but half the time we said that to Charlie when he was already over 100 through 8.
Yeah, just keep it going.
Yeah, and he has, and the thing is, unless you're doing the math in your head, so I think it's good to not always know what you need. I know some people love it, but sometimes if you just go up there and say, the goal is to get the most amount of pins, and I'm going to go up there and do that, it takes one less thing to think about out of the equation.
So personally, I'm a want to know what I need bowler, just because ball to ball, it changes how you play shots. So everybody always wants to spare, but if I know, hey, I only need a 9 box here, I'm not going to go for the crazy cut shot that I may only split. If I trying extra hard for the cut shot,
right,
I can drift in the wrong direction and only take out 1 if it's a 2-pinner. Versus if I know I need a 9, I'm going to guarantee myself these 2, and then I got a shot to clean up for 10. That's my only difference.
But your first ball shouldn't change.
Agree on that. First ball shouldn't change, but the subsequent balls is where I get a little more into it of how greedy I need to be. Like if I need the spare, I'm going to sell out for the cut shot. If I only need to pin out to win, then I'm just going to go for count.
Because I have a huge problem where if I feel like we're falling too far behind and I need that strike ball, I reach a little bit further back. And I'm going to tell you, it does not work out for me. Usually I end up overthrowing it or whatever else.
Yep.
Where it's like, just throw, ride the horse and gut. When I was bowling Mark Gallagher in the finals, not the finals, the playoffs rather. I think it was the opening round actually. Same thing where I was down like 20 or 30 going into the last string. And when I look back at it, if I threw, I think, $1.15, I think I took him. Maybe $1.17. It was less than 120. But in my head, because he had a rough fifth game, in my head, I said, he's going to put up another 110. I need a 140. And every ball I was throwing it like my life depended on it.
Yep.
And I think that cost me more than if I just kept doing what I was doing the whole time, which was getting, the 110s, whatever. Bowling the ball that I know how to bowl, as opposed to trying to overthrow everything and strike or bust, basically, like I'm bowling skins.
Yep.
Enough about me. William Hebert against Trevor Kennison, Bayberry being one of our flex houses. William takes 12 over Trevor, who was in the ACST last year. I believe he was Trevor. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe he was UD last year.
That I'm not sure.
Yeah. But 12-2, 554 to 568, a close match either way. So congrats to William Hebert on that 12-2 victory. William Hebert then bowls Devin Griswold in an 8-6 matchup, 526 to 512. Tightly contested either way. And then that was that Bayberry again. And then Robert Bezio with a big 12-2 victory over William Hebert. William doing a lot of bowling.
Crushing those games, William.
Amassed a 22-20 record. And Robert Bezio 14-14. So you can see some of that parity starting to come into play too, where we'll see people win the big matches, but then you look at the record and sometimes it all nets back to zero. And that's kind of not to zero, but you know what I mean? 500.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's kind of what we want to see more so than not, because you should be bowling people, your own group. You're going to have your outliers that people are going to have a good season. But at the end of the day, these should be close matches. And
yeah, without a doubt.
I know, like last year in the B, we were talking about it, that there was really nobody that I looked at and said, oh, I can take 12. And there was nobody that I looked at and said, I can't beat this person. We all felt like we were really in the same group. I've always felt like, since I've taken this league over, the top class and the bottom class have the disparities.
Yeah. Where
everything in the middle, they're tight. They're very tight.
And a lot of it is because the top and the bottom don't have any cap. Like the A will have a bottom line, but there's no
ceiling.
Justin 129 average, Josh Daly 123 average. But
baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a disparity for the top bowler can be so far from that 16th bowler, and the same in the E division or the F last year. There's no bottom, so there could be a 68 bowler that just wants to bowl ACST.
Yeah,
and the top bowler is 92.
People have said that they want. What did you miss? You missed everything.
Yeah, you missed your score, Sean. We already talked about you. But
yeah, we think you cheated. We think that you told the other guy, listen, if you don't let me win, you're out of the league.
Good segue. If you want to find out what you missed, like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can catch the replay.
There you go. So proud of you. Joseph
Shameless
Ringer,
plug.
Joseph Ringer over Devin Griswold. I feel like we've seen the same three bowlers in every match.
And a lot of the bowlers do that. Like they get the itch, and they just want to get as many matches in as possible. Because sometimes it's, hey, I know I got this coming up over the next couple weeks. I'm going to be really strapped, so let me get in as many as possible. So it's good to see them kind of going at their schedule versus some people that just don't schedule any matches till April or May.
I know. I recommend, and we are going to enforce. I know I made a post about this. We are going to enforce. Mayor didn't listen today. I don't know. We don't have that score that came in yet, so maybe we can take a quick peek. No, that'll be next week. So let's not keep going back.
Yep.
But we are going to enforce that if you fall far behind and you aren't bowling your matches, you will be subject to forfeiting matches. And I know we allow for injuries and things come up, but if you claim an injury, but we see you bowling Friday nights, your house league, pro series, any type of event, if you're bowling and other things, but you are too hurt to bowl ACST, then you're going to take 0. And I know this was a topic of the first one. A forfeit is the opposing bowler has the opportunity to bowl you at their home alley, even if the match is supposed to be at your house. They bowl your full average for points. Total is your full average minus 25. And if you, no matter what the other bowler does, you take 0.
Yep. The forfeiting bowler can take no points.
Yeah, so you could have 2 0-14s. But typically, somebody will go 8-6, 10-4, but the other bowler will still go 0-14. We override that on the schedule. So there's no free points. So if you forfeit, you go 0 and you don't get an automatic 14 just because the other guy decided not to bowl you.
Yep.
Bob Lee versus Scott Schneider. Bob bounces back with an 8-6 victory. 8. Whoa. That took me a second. That's weird when you see 8-6, but you lost total.
Yeah, 29 pin victory in game number 4 for Scott. That gave him enough to total. Everything else was very tightly contested. 11 pins, 1 pin, 5 pins,
Yeah,
11 again.
I had to do a double take because I thought my formula mixed up, but no, it was a 4-1. I know what happens.
Yeah, sure does.
But it's not the most common thing in the world. I would say 7-7 probably is more common than 8-6 this way.
Yeah, agree.
Match number 10, Jeremy Ainsworth versus Erica Boudry, another 8-6. But this is how you typically see 8-6. 2-3, but you carry the total.
Yep.
5-12 to 5-08, another tightly contested match at Canal Lanes. And that it wraps up. You want to put the 10 in? Because I feel like I've been double tasking. C and 8. All right, next match we have Mark Welch versus Terry Churn. I'm a little disappointed that he did not throw back-to-back 600s.
Yeah, he's a bum.
He's a bum. That second string cost you, bud. I don't even think we should really talk about this.
See what happens when you don't throw a 150 game in there? You don't get your 600.
You know, you got to put it together. Mark comes out hot with the 121 to 115. It's always funny to me, like you throw 115 and lose, throw 98 and win, but 100 and win. But the 3 and 4 were very, very good scores. So there's nothing.
And also, you throw a 115 in the C. Most of the times, you're going to win that. There's good bowlers in the C, but the average area is not the 115. That's an A average. So a lot of times, you throw a 115, you're going to have a good shot at points most of the time.
Now I don't know if Terry can maintain, a north of one. I know it's 118, but a north of 115 average. But can you imagine if we kept him in the D?
I mean, that would have been really tough. Yeah.
But
I kudos to him for continuing to work on this game the way he has.
And the thing was, his average, he came back with an ACST average. His average was a D average. He wanted to move up. He found a dancing partner. And I know a lot of times people get upset. Oh, I can't believe you let this guy come down. Well, just remember, if I didn't let that guy or that whoever come down, this guy was going to be there. So
yeah, and realistically, I will quickly attest because he's on my team on Wednesdays. He's not doing that on Wednesdays. It's strictly ACST that he's bowling well. Don't get me wrong. He's not bowling bad, but he's not carrying a 118 average on Wednesdays. That's for sure.
Hey, some people, they rise to the occasion. It's a head-to-head. It's also very different too. What's your format on Wednesday? It's 4-man.
4-man, but it's 2 at a time. So some people thrive in the 5 at a time to kind of get that level of comfortability finding your spot in 5 boxes.
It could be the 5 at a time. The other thing too to remember, like I've bowled on like 5-man teams 5 at a time. I bowled, which I think I did not agree with it at the time, and now I do. That if you're on 5-man teams, it really should be 2 at a time because you bowl 5 and then you sit for 2 whole games.
So yeah, it's a long time sitting because Exeter's that way. The Exeter Pro is 5 person teams 5 at a time, and it's a long gap in between.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking any league because that's how we ran our 5-man league, and we lost a couple bowlers because they didn't want to switch. They were pushing for 2, and they said I bowl my 5 and then I sit for too long and then I tighten up. And as I've aged, I get it. I would rather just bowl. The breaks kill me. But congrats to Terry Churn for the 12-2 victory with a 26-2 record. I'm sure the rest of the C North is waiting for him to come back down to earth. If I was his next match, I would try to hold off as long as I could.
Let him cool off a little.
Exactly. Dave LaRoche versus Brian Patton, 8-6 match, 527 to 518. Brian, you can see, tried to chip into that lead the last 2 games, but could not overcome a 31 pin margin. But made a hell of a run at it for sure. But I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah, did I say that right? Brian tried to chip away at Dave.
Yeah, you did. You said it.
Okay. It sounded weird in my head. All right, that wraps up the C North. Again, if you've already bowled your match and you don't see your score talked about, I didn't see it submitted, so get that in. In the C South, we have Marilyn Kellen versus Kevin Brown, 512 to 490. Marilyn was one of our last add-ins. I think we talked about her match last week.
Yep.
512 to 490. So it's going to be fun to see some of these new bowlers in there get their names out there and see how they can push each other in these types of environments. Maurice Perry, one of our committee members in Class E Treasurer, against Sean Brenton with a 501 to 497 victory at Harvard Lanes. I believe they were doubled up with Sean and Charlie. So you can see, like, the house was not good. Like, I don't want to say it wasn't good. It wasn't fast.
It was tough, yeah.
It was tough. I think Charlie was the anomaly.
Yes. Charlie usually is. Charlie is definitely an anomaly.
So it wasn't just that, Justin had bowled poorly. It seems like it was tough on everybody, and Charlie just didn't care.
Yeah.
Mike Smith versus Ashley Brenton. I actually got to see the first string of this because I was working and then I left. But yeah, Ashley winning the first string by 1, losing the second string by 1. I know there were some bigger matches the next 3, but then to lose total by 1 is wild. Like, so 1-1-1. Like, that's what, 4, 6, 8 points were decided by 1 pin.
That is insane. That's a good match. That's the kind of match you really want to watch because of how close it's going to be contested all the way down the line.
And then even here, 117-101, 117-94. Like,
yeah, yep.
That's a match where they're match 1, so they have to bowl each other again. But you want to talk about 2 evenly matched bowlers? There it is.
Yep, without a doubt.
Then we have the 8th match, Brian Pratt versus Ashley Brenton. I actually bowled alongside this. Brian Pratt is going to be a problem for people in the South, in my opinion. This is a guy that I feel like has been taking his bowling more seriously. He had a very good summer, but again, we use fall averages. He's gonna, and I mean this in a good way, and being like a complimentary way. He's gonna be good, and he's gonna move up. If he decides he wants to stay in the ACST in future years, I don't see him hanging around the C for long. I think this is a one and done year for him. We've seen it before. Guys like Fendo have been in the C, and they just light it up.
Yep.
It's hard to win the whole thing. But at the same time, I've talked to Brian, and I don't think he puts that pressure on himself, at least not outwardly. He's a one game at a time type guy. He's just worried about the person in front of him. He's not worried about what the playoffs are going to look like or whatever. His biggest threat on Sunday was Ashley, and now he's on to the next threat. So I think that's a good way to look at it.
That's the exact way to look at it.
Doug Valancourt, again, another guy coming back from an injury with a 10-4 victory over Gerard Horgan. And again, kudos to Gerard. It is so easy to mail it in when you're losing and you're down 50 and you still go up there and throw a $122. I've seen it in leagues. Cory, you've bowled for a while. I'm sure you've seen it where guys are just they're done and they know they're not winning, so they mail it in. And the great thing about ACST is every string is so important. And a guy like Gerard's been around long enough to know I need every point I can get.
I've watched bowlers do it like in a Worlds setting. Like it's very easy no matter the competitive level. If you're a C bowler or in the Worlds playoffs, like you feel like you're out of it, and you see them just get up and huck, and that they don't go through any of their motions. They just want to be done.
Yep. So anytime you see something like this, I think that's something that in the back of your mind to all the people watching, like these are big. Like it's important. The way the playoffs work is it's by your total record. So it doesn't matter that he lost total. If he gets in the playoffs and he beats somebody out by 1 point, that match right there could have been it. Like those are the things you need to look at. All right, so it looks like the C South is done at 9. C West, we're going to start at 6.
C West better finish at 9. C North and South both have finished at 9. So
they don't have anything.
All right, step it up, C West.
All right, D North, Dave Yagi. Another K-Pan bowler over Faye Sawyer, 545 to 478. Dave is another guy. He came in last year as a late entry, seemed to really like the league, and he's going to continue to make a run at it. I believe, was he the one? He might have been the one that got a playoff spot due to an injury. I think he was out, mathematically eliminated, and then somebody couldn't compete, and Yagi was able to actually jump in because if the rule is if it's out before the first round is bowled, will allow the 9 seed in. I think Dave was one of those guys.
Did he take over for Sherrill? Was that him that took over? That
sounds right to me.
I know Sherrill couldn't continue in the playoff. Couldn't go.
Maybe he was the 7th seed.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he got to. Yeah, but he's another one that I've watched bowl a lot of different events, and just kind of focus on bowling, like just bowl, and that's practice makes perfect kind of situation. Nobody's ever perfect in Candlepin, but you're gonna keep working your behind off to do that.
Without that last string, I mean, you're looking at a 560, 570 string. Obviously, he tightened up a little bit at the end, but walking out of there with 12 points and a 109 average in the D is always a good day.
Without a doubt.
Todd Holbrook versus Bill Olson, 506 to 458. Now, I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but I always laugh at stuff like this where Todd beat Bill by nearly 50 pins, 8-6. And how many times what did we see earlier? Mac won by 3, 10-4.
Yeah.
It's funny how it all works out, like for different reasons. Obviously, that 139 to 82 was was more so that if I, as Cory,
Yeah, it was a 9-pin
Yeah.
game going into the final string, and he won that one by
last one
57.
really. So, and that's the thing. One string really can swing a lot of the momentum, and it can also make a match. This is one of those matches where I feel like you leave, like Todd. If I'm in Todd's shoes, which I've been in plenty of times, where you leave, and you're like, boy, that match was tight, but all people see is the 506 to 458 or whatever the score is, and they're like, well, it wasn't that close. And it's like, I felt a lot closer than that. Like,
Yep, without a doubt.
I guess until that last 5 boxes, Todd felt Bill breathing down. I mean, not even feeling him breathing out his neck. He was down.
He was down going to that. Yeah, he was down 9 going into that last string.
Yeah, Bill was winning. So it's like, just, and again, we talked about being defeated and giving up. Kudos to Todd for waking up and saying, nope, I got this. I'm gonna bowl now.
Yeah, for sure.
Scott Perry bounces back from a tough first outing against Alex Patton with a 541 to 487 at Riverwalk. And Riverwalk is not a hard house. It's funny, Scott struggled at his home house at Boutwell's. I know he said he didn't get his favorite lanes, but then he comes back, bowls Alex Patton, who I believe this is his second year at Riverwalk. I think we're going to see a lot of 4-somethings at Riverwalk. It's not an easy house. I love when I can see people coming in. I wish I knew who they were.
That is an anonymous cormorant and anonymous blobfish.
Yeah, I want to know who anonymous blobfish is. You don't get to choose what you are, but it's just the first time I saw that, I'm like, who the hell is coming up with these names? I had to Google it and realize like that's just
Google's coming up with those names.
All right, so then number 9 would be Jacob Morrill, again another guy that came. No, I'm sorry, thinking of the wrong guy. Jacob Morrill's been in the league. Jacob versus Tom Grasso, 562 to 482 with a 12-2 victory. And that is the only match either bowler has bowled so far. So obviously Jake is going to look to continue that run. I know Jake said he's been bowling well of late, but these are both guys that came back with returning ACST averages. If he can bowl the way he's been bowling, watch out, D North, because he's going to go on a run. All right, so that's not 9. 9 seems to be the sweet spot, which technically is where we should be, right? Because 9 would be the week 1 matches.
Yeah, 8.
9. And then
8 is really week 1, right?
Oh yeah, it would be 8. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Yeah, so
people are ahead of the game, except the A's. Step it up, A's.
That's typical.
Typical, very typical.
All right, South, and I'm saying that now as I'm in it, but I'm in the middle of scheduling a 3rd and 4th match right now, so everybody wants the easy W's, I think.
I think South we got to start on 11. 10 was the last one we did, so yeah, there we go.
All right, Kevin Calcutt, 546 to 516 over Joe LeBlanc. Joe is one of the guys that I think is going to be a real threat in the D. But Kevin, look out. He was in the C last year. He was a late entry for, I believe he took over for Will when he got hurt. And Kevin knew he was not a C bowler. At least that's what he told me. But he said, I'm not expecting to make the playoffs. I'm here to meet new people, have some fun, and get better at bowling. The way things shook out, he was kind of a last-minute decision on coming back. He said, am I still in C? I said, I think you're going to be in D. He goes, okay, that it is what it is, but that's probably where I belong anyways. He's not bowling like he belongs there right now. He looks like he wants to be back to the C sooner rather than later with that 546. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Nick Blundo against Charles Zanabani. Nick gets his record up to 21-7. Charles to 14-14 with a 490 to 472 victory over at Timber Lanes. Nick is one of our house bowlers at Millis. Charles, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, but the good thing about the South bowlers is at some point I'm probably going to meet you.
You'll be at Millis at some point.
At some point, yeah. Pat McCauley, we've talked about him before coming back, 36-6 record. So obviously he's been getting his matches in against Lori Canny. I'm not laughing at her record, I'm laughing at 16-54. How many matches is that?
That is 70 points. 5 matches already.
So
5 matches in.
5 matches. So the D, what is it? The C West has bowled 5 matches. And so
the A North also 5 matches.
A North. So Lori has bowled as many matches as the A North. She did ask me. She's like, "Am I not supposed to be doing that?" I said, "As long as you're doing it, you can do whatever you want." But yeah, she's going to finish the season long before anybody else at this rate. And the thing is, I bowl with her Sunday night. Like, I'm not on her team, but I bowled against her.
Yeah,
she puts up better numbers than this, and I think I'm hoping that she doesn't bowl too many matches before it clicks. But it's going to click, and when it does, I'm sorry to the person on the other side because she's better than what her record is, and she's better than what her average is, in my humble opinion, as somebody who's got my ass whooped by her on more than one occasion. Excuse my language. You can bleep that out if you want for the rebroadcast.
No, it's fine. It's after 8:00. We're good.
Perfect. Kevin McGinnis against John Ahern, 489 to 453 with a 12-2 victory for Kevin to bring his record to 16-12. John at 6-22. John's got some work to do, but you know what? I know he can do it. Lori Canny again. We're going to hear her name. The problem is eventually we're going to run out of times that we can talk about her, right?
Yeah, that is the problem. She's going to be so far ahead. We're going to be done talking about her by episode 7.
Kevin Wallace against Lori. I watched this match. It happened while I was working. Kevin brings his record to 13-15 with a 94.5 average. And Lori still, well, obviously we don't have to keep saying the record over and over again, but you see the flashes of it. 119, it's there. We just, once it starts happening, but Kevin also threw some good scores himself. 102, 119, 117. And the 2 openings he gave Lori, she took them.
Yeah, absolutely.
288s, and that's really the game. I'm not saying that one bowler is better than the other in this situation, but if you know you're bowling somebody better than you, when they give you an opening, you sure should walk through that door.
And you can't play defense, so you just got to take what you're given.
Yep. And then Kevin Calcutt, we already talked about both these bowlers. Kevin Calcutt is now at 40-16 with a 14-0 victory. And like I said, I think he might be, if he keeps bowling the way he's bowling, he's going to be the one to beat. And that wraps up the D South. E North. Where are we at?
We already did D North.
E North.
Oh, D West first.
Oh, sorry, D. What are we at? 5.
D West 5,
all right.
Yep.
Austin Valley, Death Valley, with a 495-438 victory over Dennis Parent at Canal. Austin's one of these guys, too. If once he gets his consistency, he's going to be a problem. I don't know Dennis enough to speak about his bowling. I did see him streaming. I didn't get a chance to watch. But Dennis is a streamer, which is great, so you can follow him on TikTok. So I think we'll get a better sight of what he's capable of doing. But early match, I think both of them just trying to get some of the yips out. Austin was a south bowler. Now he's moving over to the west, so we'll see how he does out there. Aaron Gothier against Jacob Mayers. That's who I was thinking of who came in. Jacob lives like way Western Mass. He wanted to bowl in this so bad that he took over for somebody in the north and drove like 2 hours to bowl home matches.
Yeah, he bowled Putnam, and he drove quite some time to get to Putnam.
Yep. And on top of that, he did not fully understand how it works. So when his season ended, he messaged me. He goes, "If somebody else gets injured, can I bowl for them too?" Like he was
ready, man. He was ready to take over, and yeah, we love to see that though. We want to see people chomping at the bit, ready to compete at a higher level.
So now that we have a West division, probably saves him a little bit of gas. He said he didn't care about that. He just wanted to bowl 480 to 445 over Aaron Gothier. Again, good to see more names up there that a year ago we didn't get the chance to see. So that's 6 in the D West.
Got it.
Now we do E North, and we are at number 6. Nick Charest versus Mike Machichi, 451 to 365. Nick with a early 12-point victory. I think this was that was another match. I was going to say Cheech had another match. I'm not sure if it got reported against Tim Dacey. So this match I didn't see. I did see the Cheech first Dacey match because that was when Daly was also bowling JT, which hasn't got reported yet. And Daly did not throw a 700 for those of you that are curious.
3-pin short.
Diane Hammett against Mark Poirier. Mark takes a 456 to 432 victory. 8-6, again, one of those tight matches. 8-6s are always tight, always nerve-wracking. And to me, they feel like a tie.
Oh, correction for in the chat. Eddie Parent streams, not Dennis Parent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Sean. All right.
And Craig Wester also said it.
I think it's Eddie. I think you're all right. My bad. Nate McLaughlin against Emily Reed with a 520 to 391 victory. Nate, I think, is also going to be a guy that does a lot better than what his incoming average was. He was a 92 average coming in. He bowled at Harvard all summer. There were some good bowlers in that league, and I'm not saying that the league he bowled in wasn't good, but you pick up tips from people, you talk to people, you become a sponge. And I think Nate's only gotten better as the season progressed, and now we're seeing it. He did have a little bit of fall off in the 5th that probably saved from throwing that 540 to 550 string. But we'll see if he can maintain it throughout the year or where we're going from there. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about Emily. She only had her one match, but I'm hoping she's got a good bounce back coming for her in her upcoming matches. Match number 9, we have Brian Hebert against Chris Curley. Curley with a early 10-4 victory, going 477 to 430. Just looking at the back and forth here, 7 points. So it seems like some wide margins either way, and then kind of that 4 string was really the closest one, right? 5-pin match.
Yeah.
So it was really running.
First game was 7. First game was 7, so that was close to both under 10. But yeah, it was a little bit back and forth, but Chris kind of took it and ran with it.
Exactly. Chris returning bowler. Brian's been steady in the ACST for a while. It's always good to see the people who are coming back, the new bowlers, and the people who've been doing it year over year. This was the match that I saw. So not for nothing, Josh, Cheech was able to get his match in. Where's your reported match? This is another one that I kind of laughed at too, where it's like 10-4, but not the way you would think.
2 ties in there is crazy.
Right? Because I had to look at it. I was like, yeah, 10-4. So Cheech won 89-81. And then I saw the tie. I went, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute.
And this is more the version of Cheech to expect throughout the year. That first one where he went 360, first match back, a little bit of nerves, I'm sure, of him. He's excited. I know he's really feeling it.
To be back.
Yeah, and he's feeling. We talk about it already. I talk to Cheech every day. He's on our Wednesday league too, and he's just excited to bowl again this year. He's feeling that bug again, and he's feeling like he's starting to figure out some of the stuff that he was doing. For those of you who don't know, Cheech was a 120 average.
The dude, if you don't know, he's got a high single of 200.
200. Josh, do you have one of those? So high single of 200 for Cheech at Academy, and had been through it past couple years, back and forth, and just comparing, because we do a lot of, for those of you that don't do this, if you're trying to get better, if you stream yourself, video compare like what you're doing wrong, it helps you a lot, and that's what Cheech is doing right now. He's got old videos of him bowling Woburn that aren't quite as good quality because they're a little bit older, but he'll compare like, hey, my delivery here is very similar, only I see myself moving my shoulder a certain way, or I see myself dropping it, and he's working on it, and it was starting to pay off. Some of the balls he threw last night were those old Mike Machichi explosive headpin hits that were what he was his bread and butter back in the day.
And once he does that more often, I mean, you can even see it here. Like, I'm never gonna, I hope nobody ever takes what I'm saying the wrong way. He opens with a 72. He knows he can bowl better than that. We all know he can bowl better than all of these scores for the record. But I'm just on the come up. He's better than a 72. Yeah. And it's real easy, especially when you're a guy that was a 120 that's now in the mid 80s, to go, forget this. I don't have it. But no, he comes back 89, 100, 87, 94. He battled every single string, every single box, every single ball, and that's what you have to do if you want to get good, if you want to come back, whatever level you're at when you're looking to improve. This is what you have to do. Try to get better, and don't let yourself get sunk into this forget it mentality. And I'm excited to see him back. And I know the rest of the E may not agree with me. I think as the season progresses, Cheech is going to become a bigger and a bigger threat. And if he's hanging around playoff time, I don't want to be opposite him if I'm in the E, because I think he's going to be. If something clicks, it's his conference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely agree. And like Tim's another one who's worked tremendously hard to get better and better.
Returning bowler.
And Cheech just ran into him at a hot time, like 471. It's at 94 average. 94 average.
Tim had that early 541, so he's still averaging the 101. I think Daisy had the first match out of the gate.
You're facing a bowler that's now 22-6. So like Cheech has to build on what he did and really kind of say, hey, take a lot of positives out of there if you're Cheech, and
that wins some. 442 can win more strings than 4 points in the E. This we've seen some of the scores that you can win some matches there, and it's like you got to find your opportunities.
Yep, without a doubt.
We're gonna see big scores in the E too. I flashed it real quick where Daisy had the 132, 542. Chances are, if you're in the E and somebody hangs a 132, it's probably not going to be a match for you. But you got to hang around the matches that they give you. You got to steal every point you can. That's my philosophy in the A. And because I don't want this to come off like I'm not going to E. There's some bowlers I know I'm not beating. And I'm not. This isn't just self-deprecating. You brought it up. Justin, Charlie, Sean Taylor, Timmy Douglas, Scott Douglas. They're all like 120 bowlers. I'm a 109. But I've seen them throw 10s. I've seen them throw 90s. Those are the strings I have to win. If I get swept and they throw 2 games in the 10s, that's on me.
Right, and there's a couple games that yourself, you can throw a 130 plus,
right?
And even if they're on average, you're going to beat them. Like that's
exactly. So
you're explosive, but you have to capitalize on the down strings.
And I saw it actually. I'll use this example, even though we're going to talk about it more next week when JT was bowling Josh. I don't know what string it was because I was flipping back and forth, but there was a point where I think they went 3 marks in a row. Both of them, JT and Josh, and then Josh just kept going, and JT just couldn't keep up. But you'll see the scores that Josh put up. JT never stopped trying to hang around.
Yeah,
every ball you could see. Yep, and when he didn't get it, you could see. But he was hitting them. I'll say just as good. But Josh is
Josh.
Another animal.
Josh is Josh.
Yeah. It's you hang on for dear life and hope you can get something out of that.
It's terrible.
I think that wraps up the scores. I think we did pretty good.
That was pretty quick
About
because
an
we're
hour.
just hour and 10 maybe because we started a
not
little
bad.
bit late. But yeah, that's not bad at all.
All right, you want to pop up some of the standings? I'll be looking down at my phone because I have to see what Cory sees, and there's a delay if I'm looking at my computer.
Yeah, and I don't know how these are going to format, so you got to bear with me because I formatted this for the score sheet. So yeah, see these are flashed a few times.
I'm still seeing. Oh no, because I'm on Facebook. Hold on, I'm on the delay. Dumb.
How do we want to view this? Let's see. I wonder if we can if I just look at this part, it's probably best. The division leaders, because we're going to go through these. We're not going to go through every single line. This is probably the best view, division leaders and wild card to make.
Oh, I can't see what you see.
Hold on. Go to Streamlabs.
No, I'm on Streamlabs. I see just you and me.
Hold on. How about now?
Yeah, it's too small for me to read. But if you just tell me what tab we're looking at, we can look at it together.
I start with the A. Start with the A, and I'm gonna focus on the division leaders and wild card, the lower part of the standings.
Lower half, sure. All right, so we have in the North too. Let's just kind of focus on the A. Not just. I want to kind of go over the playoffs. I don't think we should really be going over all the standings as.
We want to again avoid 2 hours too. So I mean, we want.
It's also so early.
Yeah.
But just for quick explanation of how it all works, we focus on games behind. That's kind of the end all be all as far as where you're seated. And how that works is it's the leader of the board. So in this situation, it would be Troy's wins. So parenthesis, Troy's wins, minus Troy's losses, minus whoever you're looking at wins, plus their losses. Take that number divided by 2. And basically what that comes down to is it's pretty easy to just say, okay, 12 minus 2 is 10. But we have situations like I've already bowled 2 matches, 17 and 11. Micah, Marcus, and Pete have – that doesn't make – yeah, Pete's bowled 6. 1 match, 0-0-2. But you can look at the games behind. It doesn't say 17, 17, and 11. So it kind of – the best way to look at it is for every match disparity, imagine the bowler that's behind on matches goes 7 and 7. That's probably the easiest way to look at it. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, you got it, Mike. I did that for you.
What's up?
Mike said I can cover your face with the standings.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah.
So I just covered it for a second. This just
for Mike. Yeah, I promise I'm not. So mean. But yeah, so basically how that works is like if Micah was to go 7 and 7 for the 2 matches he hasn't bowled yet that I've bowled, he would go 14 and 14, which would make him 3 behind me. He could go better than that. He could go worse than that. But that's kind of the template for where that is. If you win your division, so in this situation, the leaders, and I know there's ties. I'm going to tell you right now, there are tiebreakers. If you go to the first tab in the sheet, Cory, I don't know if you want to go to it, but there is a tab called ties.
You're making me screw up all my formatting here, Danny.
I know. So you don't.
It doesn't show right now. Hold on. Nobody can see that right now. So bear with me one moment. I have to reformat this so they can see the tiebreaker rules. Hold on. Working on it. You can read them while we get there. There we go.
All right. So, sorry, I keep flipping back and forth. So basically, the ties that are here, nobody has to worry about this arrow. That's something that we have. It's a macro that actually
they can't see it anyway. I cut that right out. They can't see it.
Well, if you go into this sheet, because anybody has access to the sheet, the best thing is either on your laptop or on Google Docs. If you're in the bowlers only page, it's pinned to featured. If I know I posted on Candlepin chat, if anyone's interested, I can post it again. But that'll be where all of the standings are kept. That's run by myself, Cory, and Anthony Karen. But anyways, tie for the division winner. There's a 5-string match, so you can't win your division on a tie. You have to roll off of that because there is a money gap between like first and fifth, like the top 4, and then it's a little bit of a gap between 5 and 8, and then a little bit of a gap, and then 9 through 16. So if it's for the division, it's a 5-string match. The home alley will be at the alley of the bowler with the best home record. If there's a tie for the division leader seating, so if you're going between second and third, it goes by non-division record, then away record, then total pinfall for the year. If you're coming in for a bowler, obviously you're bowling less strings. So if there's an injury after, say, week 8, it'll be the bowler you're coming in for's pinfall plus yours. That way you're not losing then you would never win. So at least we're going to give you the pinfall for that. It's never come up. We've never had a tiebreaker by pinfall. Knock on wood. If
Not
there's a tie
yet.
Not yet. If there's a tie to make the playoffs, there's a 5-string match, and the home alley will be at the bowl with the best home record. That also will be paid for by the committee. So we cover that. If there's a tie between multiple bowlers to make the playoffs, which almost happened last year, best non-divisional record gets a bye. Lower bowler bowls till playoff bowler is determined, ladder style. I forget why there was an issue last year.
Yeah, we went through a whole thing. It was there was
a chance that it was me, Pete Riccitelli,
for 2 spots.
Yes, and so this was the problem, and this was actually this is actually the part of the podcast that I have more fun explaining because it's more of the rules and what happens behind the scenes. Because anybody can look at this sheet. At the end of the day, we're just kind of talking about what anybody has access to.
All right, I'm going to flip this over to our view so people can see your face a little bit better. Hold on.
Sure.
There we go.
So this was a situation where there was not necessarily a grievance, but there was a rules decision that was made because there was no rule in place for this. We didn't really think that all of these rules were actually created by Frank, Cheech, and Rich. We didn't change it. As far as the tiebreakers go, we left that all the same. So this was a situation that I don't know if they didn't see coming. I know I didn't see coming. And then as we discussed what was going to happen, I realized I would have got a guaranteed spot in the playoffs based on the way the rules were written. So there had to be a discussion that I couldn't be involved in because it was a rule that was going to impact me. If there is a rule that impacts a committee member, that committee member does not get a vote.
Yep, we abstain.
They have to abstain. And if there is a decision that not everybody agrees with, that committee member. So let's say Cory was in the league for the sake of argument, and we'll pick on Spencer. Spencer, who's not a committee member, and let's say you guys were in the same class.
Ugh.
If it affects you both, Spencer also would get invited into a chat. That way, both of you are able to explain your side if there's a decision that needs to be made between the grievance. So never feel like a grievance against a committee member is 100% lost because it's a committee member. We try to do our best to stay as unbiased as possible. So that was one that I abstained from, and I'm 1,000% honest with this. They made the right decision. Else, it ended up not coming into fruition anyways. But basically what had happened was, if you follow this, best non-division record gets a bye, lower bowlers bowl. Well, there was 3 of us bowling for 2 spots. So I had the best non-division record, so I would have got the bye. So Pete and Mark would have bowled. Basically, the loser gets the 9 seed. Then it would have been whoever won that match versus me. But those are 2 spots that already are playoff spots now with 7th and 8th. Which already, so basically the worst I could do was still come in 8th, where Pete and Mark were fighting for a playoff spot, which to me didn't seem fair. But even though I felt that way, I abstained from the conversation. The committee voted unanimously. I believe it was going to have to be a 3-way match in a neutral house, correct? Or it might have been at my house.
We said you get the benefit because you have that record. You would have hosted the match, but it would have been a 3-way total pinfall match to the top 2 pinfall getters move on.
Yeah, best pinfall would be the 7th seed, second best would be the 8th. So these are things. So now that we have something in place for something that was unexpected moving forward.
Yep.
So there's always going to be one-offs. To go back to, like, we've never had total pinfall. We never had this happen.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Exactly. And again, we try. If there was any argument from the 3 bowlers, all 3 of us would have been in the chat, and I would be speaking not as a committee member or the commissioner, just as a bowler looking to explain my side for the playoffs.
And it's very easy for anyone to think like, oh, he's the commissioner, the rules, he's going to make a proposal that benefits him. Danny is quite obviously the opposite of that. He wants the least amount of benefit to any rule changes with that. He wants to make sure like everything looks optically like, hey, like I don't care if it doesn't favor me. I want the opposite. I want the least amount of, hey, that could benefit Danny as possible.
And it's twofold, because one of that is then I feel like it also lessens the window for people to complain later, because I can be like, hey, 2 years ago, this happened to me. Actually, I can give you a perfect example of that. And we instituted a rule. I think, Cory, this was before you were even on the committee. I could be wrong. You might have been. But I was bowling a match, and it was a 6-point box. Is the best way I can put it. And I won't say who the bowler was because it's not important to the story. Some people know. If you know, please don't put it in the chat. But what happened is they needed a spare. I think I was up 2 in the match going into the end of the 5th string. And he needed a mark to beat me. I think it was 10 to beat me, but like 12 for the match, something like that. So he needed the spare. He let the ball go. I looked down the lane, and as soon as I saw where the ball was going, I said, that's game, because he hit that dead in the face. Well, the problem was there was a front-facing camera, and on the front-facing camera, it is painfully obvious. He goes over the line by about, and I'm not talking the lob line, he goes over the foot foul line by a good chunk. I never saw it in real time. It never was called. Nobody saw it. But I got about 7 or 8 text messages or Facebook messages with pictures of it. And I was like, I mean, that's as blatant as it can be. So I sent it to the committee because a lot of people were actually upset about it. And they asked my opinion. And I said, I just think if we start using replay for fouls, for lobs, for balls out of the gutter, it's going to be such a slippery slope. And we agreed there's no instant replay for fouls. And it was great because it negatively impacted me. So I can honestly say I got cost 6 points, which cost me the division also. And that's the rule. Yeah. I didn't notice it in real time. The ball went out of his hand and I looked down the lane. I didn't look down at his feet.
So, and this is a big above ACST conversation, but I think we can have it a little bit here before we get too deep into this, so we can kind of tease it for future things. I'm a firm believer in what's the term that the NFL uses? Clear and obvious overturning. And I know we don't want to get into the bowlers call, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, anything is clear and obvious.
There's some egregious ones.
Right. If it is, my firm belief, and this is something that we can discuss as a committee, in bowling in general, and we're talking the World's finals that are streamed, we're talking about men's singles during World's Week that are streamed, ladies internationals. If it's being streamed with a full setup, which is where it gets a little tricky, full setup, and there is something that is clear and obvious that it's a foul. I'm not talking every single match. We don't got to get every single cell phone camera that's out there and frame by frame every ball. But if it is,
I think finals are different than it. Like if it's a World finals,
and that's kind of what I'm like. Even ACST finals, we do a good job getting a stream set up. That if we say the problem is, and this is where I think it needs to be. This came up. I'm not going to again name the match, but this came up recently in a match about, hey, this score was posted, but it actually was this. Somebody made a post that they shouldn't have. If you have a problem with a score,
please let us know.
Let us know. Do not go right for that bowler. But I think in those instances, how does baseball do? They compete under protest. If you immediately say, like, hey, was that a 10 or was that a 9? Did that come out of the gutter? And they say, oh, I'm taking a 10. And in your mind, clear and obvious, like, that's something that...
Mark that down in your head. And then message us.
Right. Even message us in that moment. Like, nobody wants to take their focus away, but you can say to the bowler, like, I mean, this is something that we'd have to make a ruling on, but I'm a believer that you can say, hey, I'm going to let the committee know about that. I think it was probably pretty far in the gutter, and almost like compete under protest. Like, that's what they call it in the MLB. That's the only reason I use it that way, but you signify this game's under protest. And that way you tell them in real time, and it comes back and say, okay, we can take a look and say, you threw 3 balls there that and then you threw a 4th one, should be a 0, or that one was in the gutter halfway down the channel and you decided to take it. The foul light went off because you overslid, whatever the case may be. Something that we can potentially review. Not like, we're not going to sit there and watch every match, but I know it opens a can of worms.
But if we see somebody who's habitually doing it, and we've reviewed a lot of video, and usually we make a decision, not necessarily that we're overturning a call. I don't think we've ever overturned a call.
No.
I think one time we got asked, the bowler said, if you think it's out, let me know. And I was like, you have to make that call. We can't make that for you. But we also try to determine 2 things. Is it good or bad? And the second, was it obviously good or bad? So, because sometimes you're like, it's bad, but in the moment, it probably wasn't the right call, but I don't think it was malicious. And then there's other times where we watch and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
And if we see that repeatedly, I can't say it enough. We're an invite-only league. I know we have 184 people. I know that comes off, and I'm not trying to stir up anything, but I know that can come off like clicky or whatever, but we're an invite-only league. If we want the league, I've said it before, we want it to be fair, we want it to be fun, if we don't need somebody in there that's, if you need to cheat to win, find another league.
So, and Micah in the comments said, leave it to sportsmanship. You're expected to call yourself fouls. I fully agree. That is the bowling 101 rule. However, devil's advocate on that, if you look at a house like, let's go Wakefield, CPL, the older houses, they were built without foul lights because it was built on sportsmanship. A lot of those houses, they just, sportsmen, call your own fouls. If you look at some of the old Candlepin videos, nobody ever adhered to that at old houses. Like there's some that they go a foot over the line. There's a reason foul lights were invented, right?
Right.
I mean, if it was based on sportsmanship, and that was the only way that Candlepin was supposed to operate on sportsmanship, what's the need to build and design foul lights? The problem is, now not all houses have working foul lights. The foul lights don't some lanes work, some don't. So, again, this is devil's advocate here. If it was always designed to be solely based on sportsmanship, they would have never had the need to invent foul lights to begin with, because there are people that are going to take advantage of it.
I'm going to give you just one small counter. I know you can typically feel when your foot goes over, especially if it's egregious.
Yep.
But there's that front part of your foot that you like, it's the thicker part of your shoe that you're really not like fully on. If you're tickling that foot foul line, it's a foul. But I look at the pins. Like I've even had to tell, I don't get the ball out as much as I used to, but I used to tell my team, hey, if you guys see my ball getting out there, can you let me know? Because I don't want to be the guy that's lobbing every ball by any stretch, but I want to know. I'm not looking down at my feet at all.
Yeah.
So I could see a point where people are foot fouling and genuinely don't know and need that buzzer. So it's not necessarily that they did it to keep people honest. They did it because people were fouling without knowing. Like I know when it comes out of the gutter, I'm watching it. Like that's where my eyes are where the ball, unless I do that's, throw the hands up in the air and turn around and I have to go, shit, sorry, I swore again. Was that good or bad?
Yeah, and I get that too, but I think that that's the anomaly more than it is the rule. Like you said, a lot of times you're going to feel when you're egregious to it. Sometimes you're just over. I think the foul light was designed for those that just didn't call them. I agree with what Micah said. It does put the streamer in a tough spot, as people then will opt to not stream to avoid. But then at the same time, if you're personally saying, hey, I don't want to be streamed in case I foul, like what's that say about you, though, at the same time? Like it's
for the most part, people end up on streams. Unless you're actively denying streams, people end up on, there's 18 matches. I've bowled on 2, I've been on 2. I think most people will be on 6 or 7. There's enough footage out there at this point to know who's habitually cheating and who's not.
Yeah, and I don't want to say, like you said, put the streamers in the narc roll. Nobody in any part of Candlepin is asking the streamer to say, "Oh, Micah, you're going to tell me if you're streaming Danny, and I'm going to say, Micah, you better tell me if Danny fouls." No, that's not your job. However, if the footage is there and Danny's bowling Glenn Gill, and Glenn says, "Hey, Danny threw 4 balls," and you threw a spare that was in the gutter, and it took out the 6, 7, 10 because you hit a piece of wood that was in the gutter. That's something that the footage is available. That if he immediately told Danny, like, hey, I'm protesting this with the committee in that instance, I think that's something that we're notified. The away bowler is notified. That way, if you're questioning it, like, or if you knew it was out, but you're like, oh no, I'm taking it, it was good, and then he says I'm protesting it, some bowlers might just say, you know what, don't give it to me. But at the same time, I don't want that pressure. Like it's such a fine line to go. But there's so much now, like you said, there's an Worlds match that somebody got out there like, hey, so and so was going over the line in that time frame. Didn't make a difference in the match, but in the power of social media and streaming era, there's so much that's going to be seen to that people are going to foul more and be caught on camera fouling.
I see what you're saying. If the streamer's content causes a bowler's trouble, they're not going to want to be streamed. But I think if anything though, if I get caught, I'm going to give you the opposite of that. If I'm bowling on the TikTok ladies, and I get caught taking one out of the gutter, and it's on one of their highlight reels. And then somebody comes up to, and I get publicly shamed for it. And then somebody says, "Do you want to stream?" And I say no. I think I'm admitting that I'm a cheater.
Right. That's exactly what I was getting at. What's that say? Right. Yeah. What's that say about the bowler to deny the stream and say, like, hey, you know what? I got caught taking a bad spare. Don't stream me anymore. So does that mean you would rather take the spare and not be told you took it? Yeah. And I agree, Aaron. Not every match is streamed, so it does, I don't want to say put an unfair advantage on those that are streamed. It just, I guess it puts them in the public eye more to be able to take that. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you need to know if you're there's a few that come to mind that are that have a stigma of being a bowler that does go over the line or does lob it a little bit. Like, you have a stigma out there. If you want to fight that stigma, I want to stream more. Like, I want to show you I'm way behind the line every single time I'm on there and I'm not lobbing. Or, like, hey, I've turned a corner and, I used to slide over a lot, but now I figured it out and I'm staying 6 inches behind the line.
Whatever it is. Yeah. And I get it. I think more and more people are enjoying being streamed. I think, I even just that, like I said, the TikToks and everything else. I know we were really pushing just for the Facebook, but then Facebook kind of got weird with that one stream. Yeah. I still want as much share to there as possible, but there's just, everyone's got, and I'm not just going to say ACST, but I've seen some Friday Night Pro matches where you have the same match being streamed by 4 different people.
Yep. Yeah, it's what
That's
it is.
Wild to me.
So Riverwalk this past Friday, I had my stream set up for the Candlepin Corner YouTube. Go like and subscribe. And then Tony had his for TikTok and also had his for YouTube. So we were 3 streams for that same one match. He did the same thing with Josh when they streamed it, because then you had Charlie's TikTok. Yeah. It's actually, it's good. The more content, the better. But it's going to leave things like that where people can see more. And, like, you see people commenting. Like, I saw an ACST match that I saw somebody say, "Oh, are you going to fix that third box?" Like, so I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to go back and look," just because it's human nature.
Yeah. So we have had, this is where I'm even kind of afraid to bring it up. We've had situations where people took a pin. Now, we've had people forfeit strings. I think that's kind of where we've left it at, where if you go back and you watch one and you're like, "Oh shoot, like that wasn't, I in no world was that a good ball," and they forfeited strings. Or there was a situation where I think it was at Millis, the score actually read wrong. It said, like, it gave them a 4 fill, but they had a 7 fill, and nobody in the building caught it. Yeah, and then they won total by like 2. And then so the person who won found out and sent me a message and said, "I don't want to win total that way. Can you give it to this other person?"
It's big in Academy. They're notorious, especially the middle room, that we teach the kids in the kids league. You have to throw your last ball, let it clear, count to 4, and then push the reset button. If you push that reset button too fast, it counts it as a 10, because the sweep comes down, it thinks all the pins are gone, and it gives you, if you have 6 pins left, it's like, "Oh, you knocked down all 6 there," and gives you the 10 bucks. Yeah. So same idea. It's like,
and the camera lenses are different on every lane too. At least at Miller, it's like they can be a hair off wherever.
Yep, and I think it's the opposite. So, and this is me just theorizing.
He forfeited a string because there was a scoring error.
Yeah, a manual math error. Yeah, it happens.
And I remember Micah saying, "Well, what's the thing to do here?" And I said, "The thing is, you make the call. I don't try to tell anybody what the right call is, because the right call, it is what it is. What are you comfortable doing? If you want to keep the points because for whatever reason, then do it. If you don't feel right doing it for whatever reason, then, like, I don't want anybody to feel pressured into it, but I don't also want somebody to feel like they have to take the points out of some weird guilt. Like, it's really between you." And I've had to ask people, "Do you feel like you're being bullied into this decision?" And I've actually told people who I knew were bullying them, the committee decided that we couldn't do this because it wasn't clear enough. I'll lie and say it wasn't clear enough, because I don't want people to say that they felt bullied either. That doesn't need to get out there. Yep. So, we try to do our best to not put anybody in an uncomfortable situation, and we don't try to we don't give any more information than we need to the people.
Yep.
What you tell us is private.
Yeah, and I want to go back to Allie and Craig both talked about lobbing and kind of giving your opponent a little, like, "Hey, that one might have gotten out there." I'm going to be one of the first to say there's a couple bowlers, like long-term bowlers, that feel this way as well. Lobbing, I'm kind of like on the fence about. Unless you're getting it way out there, if you're couple inches. Yes, it's within the letter of the rule that if your ball isn't down before the lob line, it is a foul, blah, blah, blah. If you're getting it out 2 inches over, like, to me, it's not making a huge difference. If you're softball pitching it and it's landing a foot before the pins, you're going to have a benefit because you have less room for error for the ball. Like, if you're close to the lob line, like, it's there for a reason. It is a rule, blah, blah, blah. But I care more about the sliding over and the taking bad ones out of the gutter than I will ever care about the lob.
Because I'm going to argue this. I will argue that a lob will help you than your foot tickling the foot foul line. The advantage of putting your that little wedge piece by your big toe over the line does not help you as much as it does to put the ball 12 feet down the lane.
So, again, difference. I'm talking about minuscule over the lob lines.
Yeah.
So the difference of
foot foul, like, so I'm kind of going in the same boat here, where it's like
the difference to me with a foot foul is you're having to focus on your momentum, which changes how you throw the ball, like how your whole ball moves based on that. The lob, in my opinion, is the amount it grabs the lane.
And that's huge, because if you're a math guy, you know that the longer your ball touches that lane, that's friction, which is going to slow your ball down, slow your rotation down.
Which is why, so CBA, we had a discussion about this a month or so ago about the lob line, because Dave Barber is one that'll tell you he doesn't the lob line.
Dave, I love you. You're wrong.
Yeah, but my compromise with that is the lob line should still exist. I think the lob line can be moved back. I think you could probably put it, instead of putting it, what is it, a third of the way down the lane right now? I think you
so it's a sixth.
So a sixth. So maybe you move it to a third, or you move it to.
I'm willing to go to like 12.
Yeah, I think that's something like that. I think it can be moved further down without getting abolished, because I think that's really.
Kate writes, I like to use as much of the lane as possible. So I'm going to tell a story that's going to get me to sleep on the couch, most likely. So Kate had a problem for a bit where she was letting go of the ball behind her. And we had just refinished all of our lanes. And Kate had gone down to practice. And Jeremy called me up the next day. And I don't remember the lane number, but he goes, was Kate on lane 9? And I go, yeah, why? And he goes, you can see all of her ball marks.
Yeah, and I agree, Ali. So I'm a person that tends to drop the ball early, which is a difference from when I first started. It was the opposite. I was using 2.6 bowling balls, and I would get them out there quite a bit, not like right to the lob line. Now I switched to 2.7s. I drop them a little bit more. I mean, that extra tenth of an ounce or whatever it ends up being, or ounce, makes a little bit of difference. But if I really get it out there, typically I'm going way left because I overgrip the ball, and it's going way off. I need to know, like, I am so used to my throw that if I lob it, versus if you're a regular lobber, you're going to have more of a benefit.
Kate just wrote, not to make the podcast about her, she goes, he sent me a picture of it. I can't lob if I tried. I remember we both went to the Dan Murphy School for becoming certified instructors, and he gives us a little bit of advice too. And he told Kate, he goes, I want you to lob the ball as far as you can, just halfway down the lane. And Kate goes, but I don't want to lob. And he goes, you won't.
Yeah, she's not. Her and Cory Packard are two bowlers you never have to worry about ever lobbing the ball. That I agree with. That's a whole different argument altogether, is getting houses to actually physically move it, because that requires them pushing the back.
We're not really changing rules. We're just talking.
No, whatever rule we make right now is official.
It's gospel. Yeah, go get your red Sharpie.
Yeah, just
draw.
Yeah.
Tape.
Yeah, say right on it with white out old lob line, and then put a new one. It's like,
as long it can go past the white line, it just can't go past the red line.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably just cheaper to just make a white line instead.
Yeah, right. Lob line number 2.
So the white line is the new line. So go out there with your white out. John,
lob line V2.
Right.
But all right, yeah, we got a little off the rails on rules there. Right. No, it's a good discussion. It jumped our viewership up. It was great. Whatever Cory says, I appreciate that, Matt. Thank you. Finally, somebody tell my wife that. I think she can hear me while I'm podcasting. But yeah, no. Let's get back. So we talked about tiebreakers. We got off on the streaming. We got on that tangent of all of that.
About if you win your division, you're going to be seeded 1 through 4, which is going to get you a home match. And then the West is going to be completely different. I'll explain that one in a second.
I don't hate that, Matt. Make it go between 2 different lines. You have a must go this far, but can't go this far.
I like it. Or if you can bounce it into that spot, it's worth extra points, like
Pong.
Yeah. So the remaining 12 bowlers, and this only goes for the North and South for this year. The remaining 12 bowlers go into a wild card pool, and the top 4 point getters will be seeded 5 through 8. 9 through 16 will get a thanks for coming. They do get, like I said, they get money, and it goes up as you get seeded up. There's no bonus money for making the playoffs. I always tell people your bonus money is where you seeded. And then every round you win, you get some bonus cash. And then typically you get paid out after you've either been eliminated or won the whole thing. The West is different. West has 10 bowlers per conference. So we're doing that where everybody bowls everybody twice, one home, one away. I feel like 10 is actually perfect, to be honest with you.
It's a good number.
16. Because then I feel like that would be more fair, but I don't know how that.
I think 16 works because you have your own division. You bowl twice, so it's still the number works out.
Out to getting rid of the divisions, and then just having a home like you bowl everybody twice, 9 and 9, one home, one away. So we take the top 6. Top 2 will get a bye. 6 will bowl 3, 5 at 4, and then that's how that's going to work. So there's no divisions in that one. It's just.
It's a free for all. It's the West. It's the wild West. It's And Paul, if you're listening, he just asked me that on Sunday or Saturday, and I didn't have the answer. I said I'm pretty sure this is it, but that's exactly what I had said to him. So I just want to, Paul, if you're listening, confirmed. Yeah, for playoffs because he was covering a West match. He covered Erin Gauthier and I forget who she bowled when we went over him.
It up too.
Yeah, but he covered that match, and he was like, I just want to confirm what the playoff scenario is for the West. And I go, I'm pretty sure it's this. Top 2 get a bye, and then the next 4.
We talked about 5, and then 1 would get a bye to the finals. I think that would only work, like this is going to sound weird, like if there was an East and a West type situation where you get the bye into the class finals, but you can't just win, like, we do a big thing for the finals. I know winning the league is big, like being the 1 seed, but it's kind of weird that you're in the finals without a match.
Yeah, so, absolutely agree. Yeah,
I think 6 was the move.
Oh, Jacob Myers. Yes. Yeah, that's who it was. Micah says it's the West. Bowlers start middle, 10 paces, and throw the ball at each other. Sean Sears would be okay if it was 10 paces, then rock, paper, scissors, shoot. If you don't know, he's a world champion at
first
rock, paper,
Throw
scissors.
it down, gets to throw the ball.
Yeah.
I think cannonball wins every time.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Damn it.
Yeah.
You threw it at me again.
Rock, paper, scissors, shot put.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's going to be fun.
Like an axe thrower.
He does do axe. I think he previously was in an axe throwing league, I believe.
Yeah,
if he's still in here, he can quote there. But I just want to say our first time up at Moncton for Worlds. Shout out Team USA. Sean lost to a waitress in the steakhouse in Moncton, so maybe he's getting a little rusty in his age.
I saw him lose at a card show too.
Yeah, he did do that.
Like famously. What happened?
He's you know what? Even Tom Brady eventually gets a little bit of rust. Okay, it's
right.
He's far removed from a championship.
What do we want to talk about? Are we good?
What else we got?
Questions? We did scores. You want to flash the highs? I built a cool filter formula to make that work.
Yeah, where we get? I gotta find it. Is it season highs right here? Let's see. Let me flash back to our screen share. It's very. Hold on, let me.
Cory.
Yeah, it's been a long podcast.
On my end, nothing happened, so he's just making sounds.
Yeah. It's we're trying to get. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna just view this one conference at this time. Here we go. We're just looking at A North right now. Oh, sorry, just the North actually. A, B, and C, just so you guys get an idea of what. Actually, just gonna do A and B, because
I'll just.
I gotta format the Excel, to match the format of Streamlabs.
I can't see any of it.
Yeah, so we get Class A North single currently. Is that right? Josh Daly with the 138 is all it was. He almost went. Oh, because he didn't report his second.
He didn't report it yet.
What a bum. If he doesn't report it in the next 2 minutes, it doesn't count. Class B North single, John Dumais 151 in a 646, and then Daly has the 607 and 138. That 607 will be replaced with a 697.
Hold on, you're gonna have to help me. Where is his highs? How far down is
it? After the West D standings.
Thank you.
But yeah, so if you see Danny's working well with filters.
I just learned them.
Gotta find some beads to throw if you guys are flash. Listen, no, settle down. Listen, family friendly show here, Kate. Shame on you, Josh. Yeah, shame on Josh. I'll yell at him tomorrow at League if he hasn't submitted it yet. I'll say, hey, what the hell? Yeah, so far 138 for Josh, 607 for Josh, and then the B, as you can see, 151 and 646. We have that for every single class, and if there's ties, they'll pop in there too. Danny's done well to kind of. We built this sheet years ago, and he's like his Excel is far surpassed what we first built this with, and it's.
Oh, I gotta fix this.
What's the meme Kate sent you earlier? Just hit equals and then black out.
Yeah. The problem is, like, this is going to sound really bad. I build these things, and then I try to replicate it, and I have no idea what I did. So that whole blackout thing felt really real to me.
Well, and I try to follow what you did. Like, he helped me with the Friday sheet. For anybody that doesn't know, I do the Friday stats. Danny put a lot of effort in to help me.
I did like the last 2%. Corey.
It's more than 2%, but you're modest as always. But there was something that I was like, okay, I'm going to try and fix this because something's not working right. And then I would go to like where the formula starts, and I would say, I don't know what this is referencing, so I can't figure out where it is. And then Danny's like, yeah, I don't know either, but I'll find it. And
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's just literally, yeah, this worked. And then somebody's like, oh, how do you do that? And it's, yeah,
I have no idea.
I have no clue.
It worked.
Yeah, give me the spreadsheet. I'll try and figure it out again.
I was actually helping somebody build a league template over the last week. And I was really struggling with it. And then Kate's like, why don't you just do what you did for Harvard? And I went, oh, yeah, I forgot I did that. And then I pulled it up, and as I'm looking at the sheet, I was like, oh, this would have been way easier if I just did this. Like, I forgot that I had built. Not only did I forget that I built it, I don't even remember how I built it, like how I thought of to do what I did. That blackout thing is real.
Oh, yeah, it's so real. Because, like, sometimes at work, I do spreadsheets at work. And sometimes I'll just say, what did I just do? All of a sudden it works.
I do it. I'll do like, I'm an accountant for those who don't know, and I'll do things. I'm like, it ties. I don't know how I got there, but it balances. It looks good. Don't touch it. Don't breathe on it. Submit it.
Yeah. No, don't ask me what I did. Don't ask me how I got there, but it worked.
Yeah. Alec just said it. Standard day in accounting. So she got it.
Anybody who watches The Office, the number plus 11 gets you out by 7. That's kind of what it is. Like you just fudge it until it works, and then all of a sudden the formula was perfect.
Yeah.
All right, but I think that's a good way. I think we hit 2 hours again anyway. But at least this time it wasn't just running through scores. We got a lot more, and we got some Candlepin based discussion mixed in there, which we're going to probably do throughout the year. We'll do scores. We're going to be a lot of ACST focus, but we're going to talk Candlepin just because we're bowlers, right? With the game,
we're going to get brackets soon too, and eliminations. There's going to be some fun stuff to go over. And like I said, I thought you guys were throwing shoes. If you guys ever get to the point where like you want to see something on the screen or something to highlight, like let us know. Either shoot Cory or myself a message or comment it, because we're always looking. Oh, good. Nico says Facebook played nice this time. We actually logged in and Cory had no problems hearing me. That's for those.
It was great.
Like the last 2 weeks, the big hang up. We joked that it's the kids. It's not. For whatever reason, when I go to talk, his computer won't pick up the mic. I think you have to restart your computer every time after you've tried like everything else.
Yeah, so it's basically, what is it called? Windows ducking is what I was told it's called, and then there's also like setting it to monitor mode, but whatever. This time it worked perfectly.
Oh, Candlepin mode and PBA 2026. Oh. I was watching somebody play that on TikTok. He's one of the alpha guys. I guess he's some 10-pin bowler, and he was saying it actually was really cool. When I was watching the stream, he had a bunch of people in there, and he was saying how like Candlepin's a ton of fun, and so I was like, oh, I'm a Candlepin bowler. So he's like, does the pinfall look realistic? It looks pretty good. Because it's an alpha, though, like, one, it's all PBA bowlers, so we didn't get any Candlepin bowlers in there. So maybe that'll be next. We can try to see if we can get some of our top bowlers in the game. But they bowl one-handed. But the funny thing is because it's in beta, when they hold the ball, they'll hold it if you're watching the screen. They have the hands way out, but the ball, like, floats in between.
Oh, so yeah, some of the physics of it has to be worked on a little bit. But yeah, I know Steve and Mike are both in that alpha. Yeah, I see them commenting about that. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like I said that just to watch it because I guess it's got duck pin too.
Because it's so. What's it? There's the E-Strike bowling that's on Nintendo Switch. It's also on the iPhone. It's not on the Android, and I know there was another game back in the day that somebody local developed, but that's cool because it's. PBA is such a nationally recognized thing. For them to feature it in theirs, somebody's going to go there and say, oh, what's this game mode? And they're either going to love it or they hate it, whatever. But at least they're getting exposed to it.
Yeah, Kate was asking if they. Oh, shoot, he did. There's a website you can go to. It's like PBA Bowling 26 or 2026. Don't, but I think you can request. I think they said this first round they filled, but he was saying like if you want to get in for the second round, they're possibly looking for more testers, and they're not seeing it come out till like end of this year. It was really cool. Like I said, I think it seemed like a lot of people in the chat were real interested, and then they started asking questions like why don't people throw hooks and stuff like that. And a lot of them were talking about like 10-pin tournaments that they're doing all around. I think they were down south. But just for them to watch this game and be like, that's cool. And to be like, oh, check out, all these different YouTubes, TikToks and stuff like that. And you can see what it looks like for real because that pinfall is real. Because people were asking like, if this is realistic, there's no way anyone's ever thrown a 300. And I was like, actually, it's never been done. Like, it was pretty cool.
It's cool. And it's cool, like, because you see that on TikTok streams in general. Because the Facebook streams, the YouTube streams, you get a lot of Candlepin Bowling fans that find them. TikTok, people just kind of wander into them. Like, I wandered in at one point to a wiffle ball league. Like, it's just, you just kind of randomly find it. So it's people that are from Nebraska that happen to stumble upon the Candlepin Bowling stream. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, what is this? And that's how it gets. The algorithm says, oh, people are talking in this stream, so let me show it to more people. And that's how you end up with 300-400 viewers at a time. And then they get curious and they're like, oh, why don't we have this here? Why don't we have this here? That's how it's going to come back.
Where it starts is like it's some 10-pin house that maybe isn't doing so hot that goes, maybe I can put two lanes in. Rip out, it becomes, at that point it becomes like a shticky novelty, but it's a start.
Or like you travel all around with PBA. They put these PBA lanes in arenas or wherever it is to have these matches. What's to say they can't say, hey, at 7:00 is the Lumberjacks versus whoever that are going to bowl a match, but we have an undercard today starting at 5:30 that we're going to have Team USA versus Team Canada to bowl a 3-string match.
Yeah, like take your Hall of Fame from both and fly them down.
Exactly, or just the best bowlers. Yeah, right. You need to travel, and I think
like an all-star game.
And I think Dave, CBA related, we were talking about how to get out there, and I believe it was talked about that at one point somebody had a demo lane and pin setter that they would bring to like fairs and carnivals, like for that reason. All it takes is something like that. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like you just need something to at least show people.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a good thing for our entertainment centers, and I think the curiosity is peaking, and we have a platform to be able to get it to people. So,
and that's why I said like, I'll never be like there's a lot of competition in the world of businesses streaming all that stuff. I don't care. I will plug CBN, Candlepin Bowling on TikTok ladies, Steve Kelly, Micah. I don't care who's streaming. I will plug it. I will collaborate. I will plug. I don't care. Like my channel, I want to get to 1,000. I want Paul to be at 1,000. I want 3-Ball Spare to be at 1,000. Like I want everybody to have the most viewership they can possibly get and keep spreading it.
I love when I'm on TikTok and somebody will pop in and be like, "Are you in the same house Charles is in? Because I was just watching him." And I'm like, "No, how did he do?" Like people will like find you because now we're on their algorithm. Like I think that's like the coolest thing.
Even like Facebook or YouTube, like if I'm doing Candlepin Corner on Facebook and like Nico's big on it, he'll come in and say, oh, CPL's match just finished. They took 6 tonight. And they'll be like, yeah, cool, that's awesome. Like or like late in the season when there's a lot of tight matches, you'll bounce from match to match and say like, oh, Metro needs to take 6 in order to clinch a playoff spot. Riverwalk just took the first 4. Like you get to see that back and forth. It adds drama. It's like watching football on Sunday. Eventually there'll be a Candlepin Red Zone where it just bounces from stream to stream with somebody doing a watch along. Oh yeah, Cody, absolutely.
Brought up him and his 2 viewers.
Yeah, be nice to Cody.
No,
Cody,
never.
Cody's doing the streaming. Bowling with the Goth Ears. Like there's so many streamers out there. Like right now, it's great. And all it takes, Corrado C- on TikTok. He's streaming all the time. All it takes is a tripod and a phone. That's it.
Yep, that's all you need. And it's so much out there right now, and it's great. Like I love going through it. Yeah,
it's a great spot to be in. Candlepin at the once quote unquote dying sport is at a spot now where I think it's I don't want to say more popular than ever because back in the 90s it was pretty big.
It's the biggest it's been since I've been involved in the game.
Yeah.
I got in. I felt like there was a lot of that. This game is dying. This game is dying. This game is dying. And now it's like every tournament, I hate to keep bringing up Outrun the Bear about things, but like Outrun the Bear, we had 19 the first year, 21 the second year, 17 the third year, and I was done. I said third year was our last year, and Kate said, let's do one more and see what happens. And then it went to 30 to 50, and now it's like the scratch one is considered around 50 or 60 usually, and I know last year was really low because we were the same weekend as the Pro Series, but the handicap is always at 88, but we're not the only tournament doing that. Your 9-pin tournament crushed. Oh, yeah. And on top of that, your 9-pin tournament crushed on the same day as a Western tournament, if I remember.
That also crushed, yeah.
The Richie so which I was a part of, which was filled.
2 years ago, or a year and a half at this point, Sean and I ran it the same day, which I love the Richie Mare tournament. So I yelled at him a little bit and I said, "What are you doing, Sean? We can't be doing this." So now we coordinate so we don't run into each other. But it was a couple years ago that it was a couple people dropped out of my tournament to do his, and luckily we're still hitting. We weren't at 72, but we were at 69, 68, 69 awesome. Bowlers, which is great from our first year where we were on the right room, and the most we could have in a shift was 24, where we hit 48. Now we can have 36 in a shift, and this year we have 3 shifts because we're doing a women's division. So it's like the game continues to grow. We love to see it.
There was no pro series for the women when I first got in. I think the only thing that I can remember was they had a women's ACST for 1 year, and I wasn't a part of that. So I'm like, obviously it's a bowler, but like I wasn't running ACST back then.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have any bias there, but that was really the only thing I saw. There were some women's tournaments, and I know obviously ladies internationals, but like now they have the pro series for them, and I know they did before too.
But it came back. It's coming back.
I'm saying
when
I
huge.
First got in the game, it was not there. So
yeah,
and it's getting. It was good to see the turnout last year. It looked way better this year when they were running it at Millis.
Yeah,
I saw way more women than I saw the first time bowling, which is great. Which means more and more women are getting involved in the game. More guys. The shifts are getting bigger for guys.
And the big thing I think the Pro Series did this year is you did the doubles first, which they usually do, and then followed up immediately with the mixed doubles. Mm-hmm. So you keep the women engaged because every guy has to look for a woman to bowl with. So the amount of the ratio is off, but you're pulling women that either haven't bowled often in the Pro Series to get there, or you're making sure every woman that bowled in that doubles event has a partner. I love to see the women's game growing because that's big for Candlepin too. Like, and the kids league is gonna get more little girls involved because they have a bowler they emulate, whether it's an Allie Atwell or it's a Maddie Riva, whoever it is. They're gonna say, I want to bowl like her and keep it going.
Well, going back to what you said about, having these guys have to get women to bowl for the doubles tournaments, right? Maybe you have a woman that just is like, I don't want to bowl these things. I'm not good enough. I can't beat these people. And then you have a guy that's like, please, I just need somebody to bowl with. You don't even have to bowl good. I care more about getting my own points. You just go have fun. Then they bowl, and then they go, well, wait a minute. I'm actually better than I thought I was. I can hang. And
absolutely.
Now they start signing up for more tournaments because now they see maybe they do belong there.
Yeah, and you see that a lot. You see that, like, you look at the women's tournament Paul just ran this past weekend. Sammy Smith was on my 560 team this past year.
Yep.
That was her first like big tournament. She's done tournaments before, but that was her first like team event. You're there for the weekend, and she also did, I think, the ladies international. She did another women's tournament, and then she did the Paul's tournament. I think she came in second or third this weekend. Yeah. So it builds confidence, and now you're like, oh, then I can bowl in the Pro Series if I can hang with these women here. So it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go to one, and then you get the bug.
Yep, and that's why ACBT is so big, because it gives you that gateway in. But enough fawning about Candlepin, where it's going. We want to wrap this up so you guys aren't killing your nights here. But I think we did great here. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. There was a good dialogue back and forth all night. If you're watching the replay, join us Tuesday nights around 8-ish. We're going to be live on Facebook to be posted to YouTube after the fact. But we'll be here every week as long as we can. I mean, obviously there's always going to be weeks that may end up missed, but we're going to do our best to be here consistently every single Tuesday, unlike my other podcasts.
And there may be days I bow out and then maybe another committee member. Cory has to be on because he's got the rig. But there's going to be days, I think maybe we get Sean on to talk more about the West, and maybe some of the other committee members, maybe even a bowler here or there, just to change things up from week to week.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're just keeping this fresh. You guys let us know, whether it's a message to me, whether it's a comment on this video, or when Danny posts that we're going to be live. Let us know what you want to see. Like, we're all for being flexible in this and giving the people what they want. So appreciate all you guys joining us. Yeah, we'll see you again next week. Danny, thank you for coming on as always. I'm Cory for Candlepin Corner. Y'all have a great night.